And welcome to Moorabbin, round 8, 1989. The Saints unbeaten at Linton Street this year, and North have lost their past two games here at the Saints Fortress, and we're underway. And from the opening bounce, Paul Harding can't get the clearance and will do it all again. Umpires Peter Cameron and David Howlett in charge. Excellent conditions. And St Kilda 10th taking on North Melbourne 5th. The Saints coming off that horrendous loss down at Geelong by over 100 points as Jimmy Cracker gets the Kangaroos moving. The kick comes out towards the members' centre wing. Which way will it bounce? It'll bounce kindly. I think that might have been Clarkson. There's a good bump there from Benny Ingleton, and the ball is out of bounds in neutral territory. North Melbourne heading to the Nepean Highway end, St Kilda to the South Road end in this first quarter as Stewie Lowe does a bit of ruck work. The ball squirts out the front of the contest. And it's been a really scrappy start. Clarkson's got it again then. It's going to be a throw up. Bruce Eva and Mark Fine with you. Good afternoon to you, Finey. This should be a beauty.
It should be a great game. St Kilda so hard to beat at Linton Street. And we know North Melbourne always with a star-studded team, difficult to play against as well. Bowie gets the first possession and for a clear handball there and a good kick up to the St Kilda forward line, and Rod Owen about 50 metres out from goal. Not impossible. So a bright start for the Saints. Rod Owen goes back 50 metres right on the paint. Doesn't go for goal, instead beautifully positioned kick, and Brett Bowie went all on his own. Gee, that was well picked up by Rod Owen and slack marking by the North defence. So the first clear shot of goal will be to the St Kilda rover, Brett Bowie.
Debuted late last year along with Robert Harvey out at Footscray.
Let's see Bowie's kick. Right through the high diddle-diddle. Great start to the Saints. And they've got the first major on the board. St Kilda, 1 goal straight. North Melbourne yet to score.
So terrific start there for the Saints. Young Brett Bowie, as we said, played the last few games last year with fellow teenager Robert Harvey, introduced into the side late in the disappointing 1988 season, but part of this bright start to 1989 for the red, white and black. Good crowd in, around the 20,000 mark. Harding jumps early, smashes it forward. Mick Martin can't control it. Good tackle there by Peter Russo, and rewarded as well. So St Kilda, now that there should be a 50-metre penalty, and it will be. So
that was disorganised by the North boys and gifting St Kilda a 50-metre penalty there, Beef.
So it is Peter Russo, with Brett Bowie already having kicked the first goal of the afternoon. Directly in front, should be a bread and butter shot. 25 out, directly in front, no mistake. Perfect start for the home side in this big Saturday afternoon clash at Linton Street. 2 straight 12 St Kilda. North Melbourne yet to score, have barely been forward of centre.
Bright start for the Saints. Exactly what they would have wanted after last week's humiliating thrashing down at Gardenia Park. So we've gone 4 minutes into the first quarter. Bowie and Russo, the goal scorers for the Saints. And it's RSVP North Melbourne. Let's see what they've got in the tank. The two ruckmen again go up at it. McDonald and Harding, the ball knocked down, picked up there by North Melbourne, and kicked quickly, scrubbed forward. Opportunity for Cunningham. He overruns the ball. Now umpires found a free kick, and David Grant will take it for the Saints, the reliable halfback flanker. He looks centrewards and kicks the ball into the centre of Moorabbin. Harding in best position, knocks the ball in the back of the pack. Larkin first on in the van. Daniels tackles him. St Kilda right on it at the moment. Stacks on the mill, and the umpire should call for a ball up, and he does.
It's great pressure early, Finey. Coach Darryl Baldock would be very happy with the intent shown. Having to bounce back after being slaughtered at Geelong last week, conceding such a massive score, 35 goals to 16. Larkin caught high there by Winmar. He'll take the free kick and head to the outer wing. Big leap by Hepburn. Jimmy Cracker front and centre. Got a handball to German, who takes an early bounce. A 25-metre handball out into space. That looks like David Dwyer there. Couldn't control it. North Melbourne have got numbers though. The young and impressive Derek Kickett. Lovely little low pass. And the mark is taken by Alistair Clarkson, who looks a likely type for the Kangaroos, and he'll line up from only 25 to 30 metres out, directly in front.
So that's our first glimpse of Kickett there, and very impressive.
Yeah, laser-like left boot. So Alistair Clarkson looks a feisty type and allows for the breeze. It comes back, but not enough, and it's a minor score. North's first score of the afternoon. They're behind. St Kilda 2 straight 12, and Danny Frawley about to bring the ball back into play.
Spud kicks the ball to the outer side of the ground, clears the 50-metre mark. Winmar at the back of the pack takes a fantastic mark. Well played, Nicky Winmar. Gets on with it straight away. Handball to Russo. Further afield. St Kilda kicking the ball forward through the agency. Grant finds Cunningham, and he's too far out to score, but he's going to look for one of the two big boys. Not with that kick. That's an absolute scrubber. Picked up there by Dwyer. Dwyer now. He's got an opportunity to centre the ball, and Corcomelis in the van, in the right position, and this is a very bright start for the Saints.
Spiro Corcomelis, one of that fleet of midfield runners the Saints have now built, and they're looking dangerous early.
So, Corcomelis, chance to put St Kilda's third on the board, goes back. This one goes across the face of goal and through for one behind. So it's St Kilda 2-1, 13 to 1 behind. I don't think there's really a wind affecting the kicking too much. Maybe a slide to the South Road end.
Yep. The end, the Saints kick in this first quarter. St Kilda having comfortably beaten North Melbourne here in 1987 and 88. As North will be able to clear it. Wayne Schwash with the locks flowing. Kicks on his non-preferred right. A scrubby kick. David Grant couldn't control it. The ball out of bounds. Centre wing on this members stand side. Crowd still building here at Moorabbin, 10th versus 5th. And the Saints a couple of games behind the Roos. They really need to win today to stay in touch with the top 5. Round 8 action. And from the boundary throw in, we will have a throw up. Looks like Donald McDonald is going to do the ruck work. Of course, we're not going to have a throw up. We're going to have a bounce. It is 1989. Stewie Lowe smashes it forward only as far as David Dwyer. Kicks it back from whence it came. Huge leap there by Joffa Cunningham. Out the back, Jack Daniels. Long handball in favour of Russo. Little Shepherd. Daniels went again. Paddled it out to Nathan Burke's advantage. Got an unkind bounce. Larkin. It was an accidental trip at best, but the umpire had the whistle in the gob quickly. And the North Melbourne Star takes the free kick on centre wing.
Matthew Larkin putting North Melbourne deep into attack. Clears the 50-metre mark. Gordon Fode there. Now, free kick to Cracker. I'm not quite sure what that was for either. So a couple of dubious free kicks in consecutive order gives North Melbourne an opportunity to score. Maybe a little bit far out for Cracker. We know he's a laser-like kick, but has he got the distance in him? Well, we'll find out. Right on the pay to 50 goes the torpedo, and it's a scrubby old kick forward. Danny Frawley's in the van. Well done at the top of the ball by Jason Daniels, and he looks for the safety of the boundary and finds it with a handball.
Clearly caught high then Daniels. The umpire missed that one. Crowd starting to get a little agitated with the officiating in the last couple of moments. Harding works his way to the front. Hepburn, third man up, smashes it towards the North Melbourne goal. Quick snap there. No, the kick was well smothered. St Kilda defence working overtime. Although,
that should be a free kick for the Saints, surely.
No, it's Plum was the call. I agree with you, Finey, but Kickett swooped, and a few boos ring around Linton Street as North Melbourne, through their big name, high price recruit Derek Kickett, get their first goal. They're 1-1-7, Saints are 2 straight 12. 2-1-13 in fact.
Doesn't take a lot for the crowd at Moorabbin to become restless, and we're only early in the first quarter, and I think the natives are getting restless. Ball back in the centre of the ground. Paul Harding to do contest again with Donald McDonald. Quickly trying to kick away there by Dwyer. It stacks on the mill in the centre of the ground. Finally, the ball comes out through the agency of Nathan Burke. Kicks it over the top of the shoulder. Storming out from defence there, North Melbourne, but picked up again by the Saints. Clearing kick by the Roos. Now, members wing, the ball being tracked forward. Oh, gee, that could have been too high to North Melbourne. Finally, Schwass picks up the ball for North Melbourne. A big sweeping handball to Peter German. Clarkson running shotgun. He's going to put North forward again. And the player in the van there was McDonald. He wasn't able to take the mark and safely seen over the boundary line by David Grant.
So throwing about 60 to 65 around from the North Melbourne goal, just adjacent to the visitors' race. Hepburn spikes it back in towards the centre corridor as the Saints try and work their way out of trouble, only as far as Clarkson, who kicks on the left foot back to centre half forward. At the fall, Joffa Cunningham controlled it well. Handball to Daniels, collected on the bounce. Long sweeping handball, reminiscent of that handball to Nicky Moonmar back in round 2. Dwyer collects, kicks long to Lockett. First time he's a factor today. Couldn't hold on to the mark, the superstar full forward. And the umpires, in fact, given a free kick to North Melbourne, remembering Tony Lockett comes into today's game with 49 goals, Finey, from the first 7 rounds.
Amazing performance by the big man. Ben Ingleton gets a defensive fist away, and that's a good one. And the ball right out on the centre wing, in front of the members' stand, in front of the animal enclosure. Always vociferous. Stuart Lowe this time contesting the ruck up against McDonald. The ball's fisted forward for North Melbourne and picked up by Matthew Larkin, the running midfielder, centres the ball perfectly and finds Bryce. Bryce kicks the ball forward for North Melbourne. Let's see who's there for St Kilda, and in the van, the reliable fullback Danny Frawley gets it off to Dean Rice, and St Kilda rebound once again, off onto centre wing. Mick Dwyer, he's got the panic in front of him, kicks the ball up to centre half forward, or the half forward flank. Who's there for the Saints? Picked up by Corkamila, swings around on the right boot. Intercept mark there. Peter German coming out of defence impressively for North Melbourne.
Yeah, they're not out of trouble yet though. St Kilda got some numbers around the fall of the ball. Although Martin gets a handball to German, handball to Arceri. Quick kick before the Russo smother. It'll land about 40 metres out from goal. Frawley beats Fairley again. Comes out really hard at it. And the old 1-2 got the handball back, did the skipper. And he kicks a wobbly thing to centre wing. Who's it going to favour? Corkamillis on hands and knees. Got a little handball to Stuart Lowe. Fended off one. Handball to big Paul Harding, the athletic ruckman. Handballed it forward, but it's been intercepted and it's been played between the arcs at the moment.
Jason Daniels overruns the ball and gives an opportunity to the excitement machine kicker. Well done, Jason Daniels. Tracked into the boundary. Now that could have been holding the ball. The umpire says it is. Great work by Jason Daniels. Lost the bounce of the ball but didn't lose the contest. Jason Daniels swings the ball to centre wing. Over the back of the pack, Stuart Lowe goes the big fist. Matthew Larkin at the drop of the ball. Handball by German to Martin. North Melbourne trying to get on the move. Martin swings around onto the left boot. Kicks the ball forward. Oh, well done in front of the pack by David Grant. Ever reliable. Plays on immediately. Bounces to his feet. Swings the ball to centre wing. And there for the Saints is Dwyer. St Kilda are playing well. No question about it. Handball by Dwyer. Puts Ingleton into trouble. Well done, Ben Ingleton. Beats one, beats two, but his handball ultimately is knocked out by Chandler, and it's a throw in on the centre wing.
So plenty of huff and puff, but the Saints lead by just the 6 points. They've had the better of general play so far. Nathan Burke emerges from the congestion. What a player this young man is. Kicks in the Lockett direction, and the big fella's got it for the first time on this very pleasant Saturday afternoon in bright sunshine. Plugger will go back from about 30 to 35 metres. Preferred side for the right footer. And the way this breeze is going, you would imagine he's going to have to aim at the right-hand goal post and swing it back from right to left for what will be his 50th major of 1989. Lockett on the runway. Oh, what a kick. He knows every blade of grass on this magnificent oval like the back of his hand. Beautiful conversion from Big Plugger. And St Kilda skip out to a 2-goal lead. 3-1-19. North Melbourne 1-1-7. And as you can see, as we cast around this magnificent venue, a big crowd in, and the Saints up and about early, Finey.
Great kick by Tony Lockett. As you said, he knows every wind tunnel down in Moorabbin. He knows where to put them. And I tell you what, 50 goals in 7.1 games of football. He's one amazing full forward. The ball knocked down. Corkamillis does well, but intercepted by North Melbourne, and they rebound quickly. Out to the centre wing again. First in the chase for the ball there would have been Gordon Fode. Finally bounces his way, takes on the tackler, and does not beat Alistair Clarkson. Gordon Fode well and truly brought to a halt by Alistair Clarkson. And I'll tell you what, for a pocket-sized footballer, that was strong football. Alistair Clarkson. Identify somebody leaning forward for him, but well tracked to the boundary by Jeff Cunningham, and once again, a throw-in, this time just forward of centre for North Melbourne. St Kilda lead by 2 goals, 3-1 to 1-1 down here on a beautiful day at Moorabbin. The ball's knocked down by Dwyer. Good tackle as Schwass picks up the ball. Great work by Dwyer. You're going nowhere, Wayne Schwass, and the umpire says, give it me.
Magnificent mullet being rocked by Wayne Schwass in his second year of league football.
I must say Dwyer rocks the mullet as well, but not so much up the front.
As North Melbourne free kicker, they're going to pay the advantage here. Donald McDonald was tearing away, but it'll come back to Arceri. Centre wing, members side. Arceri thumps it towards the hot spot. Massive pack fly. Who's going to be at the fall? Going to ground there, might have been Fode, was it? It might have been England. Schwass with the intercept. He's streaming towards goal. Oh! Did anyone get a touch to it? Well, David Grant ushered it through and sensed the danger and conceded the rush behind. What a footballer David Grant is. 1-2-8 North, 3-1-19 the Saints.
Kicked out by David Grant, looking for Bowie on the outer half-back flank. Arceri tracks Bowie. Bowie goes to ground and gives the opportunity to Jim Cracker. You can't give him an opportunity. Oh, good tackle there by the Saints. Holding the ball, was it? No, a free kick against Buckley. Umpire says play on. Kicked off the ground. Might have been Gordon Fode. Matthew Larkin tracks the ball back. Chased by Nicky Winmar. Put sufficient pressure onto him. Schwass over the back. Stacks on the mill as Ben Buckley handballs out to Wayne Schwass. Now, the youngster gets the ball to Larkin. I'll tell you what, he's had a good start to the game, Matthew Larkin, and he pinpoints a kick forward. Well intercepted this time by Gordon Fode. Put his body on the line. Ben Ingleton also putting his body on the line. The young Saints doing well. Peter German over the top of the ball, or was it Clarkson? Daniels tracks the ball back. Picked up by Cracker. That was a bit of Cracker magic, I can tell you that. Got the ball to kick it. Tackled by the Saints. Umpire calls play on. It's frenetic stuff and ultimately out of bounds in the forward pocket and the subsequent throw in right against the boundary post.
Gee, it's a willing affair early and young Jack Daniels, just 18, fell the full force of that big hip and shoulder from Jimmy Cracker as Bryce takes it out of the ruck. His kick just went up the chimney, down it came. Frawley, little dribbly handball to Fode. Fode just whacks it on the boot, down the centre corridor. Big ball to be won. Sits up on its head. Larkin is doing far too much damage. Finally, for the St Kilda supporters liking. His left foot kick, though, was a little wobbly. Russo just hacked it off the ground. Gained about 50 metres. Stuart Lowe, he hasn't been a factor as yet. Martin's beaten him so far. Lowe imposes himself on the contest. Martin goes again. Corcamilis picks up the loose footy. Wobbles it towards Lowe. And he takes the mark under duress. That was a very good grab for the young centre-half forward, and he'll go back and line up from about 40 metres on a 45-degree angle. So Stuart Lowe, one of the twin towers that the Saints are pinning their hopes on for the next decade, Lockett and Lowe. Debuted 3 years ago, almost to the day, here at Moorabbin in the mud against the Swans. That is a magnificent kick from Stuart Lowe. A wonderful kick from long range. And Stewie Lowe bags the Saints fourth, 4-1-25. Kangas 1-2-8. You can see the famous scoreboard here at Linton Street. Number 6-1 race 3 finey. If you've got the trifecta, 6-4-2 were the numbers that got home at Royal Flemington.
Gee, they're a different kettle of fish at Moorabbin, aren't they, St Kilda? You can't recognise this from the side that got pants last week, Bugs along. Harding doing well in the ruck, and Stuart Lowe, after that goal, comes off the middle of the centre of the ground. And great play by Stuart Lowe. He's absolutely energised by that previous goal. Kicks the ball forward, and Tony Lockett slips his man. Well, I don't know what was happening with John McCarthy then, but he wasn't within a bull's roar of Tony Lockett. And an opportunity for the sharpshooter to kick his second for the afternoon and extend St Kilda's lead to 23 points. And we've only really gone halfway through the first quarter. So great start by the Saints, and you'd be a brave man to say Plugger wouldn't kick this one. He puts the boot through the ball, and once again right through the middle, and St Kilda put their 5th goal on the board. 5-1. Good kicking by the Saints. North Melbourne 1 goal too, and the Saints are out to a 23-point lead.
Well, this is a key break. The Saints do have the use of the slight advantage with the breeze. Whether it's a 4-goal breeze, I guess it's a bit like a cricket pitch. Wait to assess until both sides have had a bat on it. But St Kilda have jumped out of the blocks. 31 plays 8, and Tony Lockett with 2 straight. Back underway with a very good bounce. Harding and Bryce up the chimney. That ball goes. Rod Owen comes steaming out. Wants to swivel back onto his right foot. Takes a bounce. The natural ability of this young man is superb. Kicks in the Lockett direction. He got a piece of it. Couldn't beat 3 Kangaroos. He could probably beat 4 on his day. North Melbourne, though, they'll be able to run it out. German sweeps a long handball, and Clarkson's claimed by Ingleton. Will he be rewarded? I fancy the umpire's going to say yes, and Ingleton will drive St Kilda forward again.
I reckon he got a bit of encouragement from the crowd. Good first quarter by Ben Ingleton. He kicks in the Lockett direction. He almost took the mark. He did so, but infringed, and John McCarthy. Oh no! Now, what's happened here? John McCarthy was fairly confident that the ball was going his way. And the umpire scored for a bounce. Well, I don't know. Was that 6 of one, half a dozen the other, or I'm not sure. Stuart Lowe stands and delivers a big punch forward, kicked away by North Melbourne. Getting in the van there was Rod Owen, put his body on the line and fairly cops it. And, may I say, fairly.
Indeed. And he's still feeling that as kick it. What about that for a 25-metre handball in favour of Larkin, who has done so much damage? They're 4 goals down, but he might be best to field at the moment. Matty Larkin gets it back to kick it. Out wide to Fruity Allison. Brett Allison's taken a couple of bounces. Handballs back inboard to German. They're into their forward half. Corker-Millis approaches. German kicks long into the pocket. And David Grant again. A well-judged mark.
Gee, safe as the bank. Even safer. Ball out on the centre wing. Donald McDonald was outpointed there by the shorter man, Cunningham. Finally the ball ends up with Russo, who swings it to Stuart Lowe on the lead. St Kilda on the move again. Now looking great, the Saints. 2 bounces, Stuart Lowe. That's not normally his go. He kicks the ball goalwards. That is sometimes his go. Out of bounds on the full.
Well, he was excited. He was tearing away like a thoroughbred then. But the kick left a little bit to be desired. John McCarthy brings it back into play. It's a low ball, but it finds Arceri. The crowd momentarily hushed. It's been an exciting start by the home side. Long ball to centre wing. Ben Buckley at the full. Little handball to German, who's starting to join Larkin, is doing some significant damage here. Neat pass. Clarkson didn't like the treatment there from Gordon Fode after he took the mark. Clarkson, he's going to step around Fode, kick on his non-preferred left. Well-weighted pass, but no, that was very well read there. Who's that picked it up? Just trying to pick up
Nathan Burke.
Nathan Burke. He was
wouldn't come as a surprise to see that the boy at the bottom of the pack was Nathan Burke.
Tried to get to Dean Rice. Free kick's been picked out, and Dean Rice will go long and strong to centre wing.
Straight to centre wing, and Stuart Lowe, he is starting to stamp himself on this game. Great mark from behind. Terrible kick though. Easily cut off by this young Derek Kickett. And his kick also not quite up to the mark. Dwyer's able to knock the ball to Jimmy Cracker. Jimmy Cracker gets the ball further afield to Clarkson. He's had a good first quarter. Arceri runs onto the ball. He's an opportunity for North Melbourne. They desperately need something, and it's a fair old kick and goal by Arceri. I tell you what, they needed it, and Arceri delivered. Mark Arceri kicks North Melbourne second. They go to 2-2-14, 17 points in arrears. St Kilda 5-1-31. And we're, I'd say, just about heading into time on in the first quarter.
Around the 25-minute mark, so important goal against the Breeze. Although it is a bit swirly at Linton Street today. Margin back to 17 points. Umpire Peter Cameron gets us underway once more. Another excellent bounce. Russo grabs it, spins onto his non-preferred left. High ball to centre half forward. And is that Chandler?
Jeff Chandler, yeah.
Yeah, good mark. Got one to go on with from Rod Owen. Chandler handballs to Buckley. Out very wide. No mark taken there by Mick Martin. The Saints will emerge with it. Cunningham to Rice, who brings it back in. Oh, big mark by Stuart Lowe. Sticky fingers, handballs to his great mate Nathan Burke, who kicks in the Lockett direction, and he's got it again. Just too strong for John McCarthy, and Plugger Lockett will go back from virtually directly in front to line up for his third and push this lead back out to the best part of 4 goals.
That is St Kilda at their best, and their absolute assets coming to the fore. Big mark by Lowe, handball to Burke, and one-on-one, who's going to beat Tony Lockett?
So shooting for his third in this opening term. Drop punt, as always, fires and goals. From 40 metres, Plugger makes no mistake. Lockett has 3, St Kilda have 6, and they lead by 23 points, 6-1-37 to North Melbourne 2-2-14 in the shadows of quarter time.
Wow, that was exactly how the playbook would have been written by Doc Baldock. Big leading mark by Stuart Lowe, and get the ball on quickly, Stewie.
Maybe even with the salt and pepper shakers on the table in the social club on the Thursday night.
Knocked down by Harding, picked up by Paul Bryce, but again St Kilda goes forward, and once again, this time in the van is Mick Dwyer. He's going to kick the ball goalwards. It's a long ball right into the teeth of goal. Rod Owen couldn't drag it in. Was it Owen or Bowie? Yeah. Bowie it was. Couldn't drag it in, and 1 point for the Saints.
North Melbourne desperate to hear this quarter time siren. They don't want to concede another goal. McCarthy right down the middle. Hepburn and Lowe fly. At the back, North Melbourne have some numbers here, and Dwyer's got a bit of space. Burke gives chase. Dwyer kicks long. Frawley in a good position. Couldn't take the mark. Martin's been moved forward, the young key defender. Cracker's there. Oh, Cunningham emerges with it. It was the one that wanted it the most. Kicked on his left boot, which we don't see very often, and that's why, as it runs over the boundary line, right in front of the animal enclosure. I think I can see Russell Holmesby down there leading the charge. There's plenty of support being offered to the home heroes.
Paul Harding going to contest again, coming from behind. He's done a good job in the ruck, but this time Wayne Schwass at the drop of the ball can only spray it out of bounds on the full, and St Kilda will be able to relieve again through the agency of Dean Rice. So the Saints, 24 points to the good. As Beaver said, we'll see what that translates to by half-time and the use of the wind or whatever there is by North Melbourne. Another great mark by Stuart Lowe. Great contested mark on centre wing. He swings the ball forward. Man in the van is Nicky Winmar. Wasn't able to take the mark. Ben Ingleton flicks the ball out. Peter German's had a good quarter. There's been 2 or 3 North Melbourne players that have got off the leash, and this is one of them, Mark Arceri, and that's a beautiful pinpoint pass, and Mick Martin. Not normally where we see Mick Martin. The youngster has made his name as a defender, but from 50 metres out, with this wind probably blowing a bit in his face, doubtful that he could make the distance. Big long kick by Mick Martin. Goes to the key position forward line, kicking at the drop of the ball. On top of kicking is David Grant. Hails the cab. Umpire says, no, give it me. A bounce. St Kilda desperately defending. Would not want to concede a goal before quarter time, Beef.
Certainly not even, don't call me Shirley. Finey is David Howlett, good bounce. A lot of players around the pill. Harding flips a handball out the back to Joffa Cunningham. Goes to ground, got a handball to a fellow veteran in Russo. Kicks it towards centre wing. There's a late whistle. He was low being shepherded out. Umpire said no, he actually interfered in the marking contest. Bryce ran a long way, then heaved a kick to the top of the goal square. St Kilda defend grimly. Good handball by Rice to Russo. Russo by hand to Grant, who's had a fine first term. Out wide to Mickey Dwyer. Locks flowing. That's out the back. Not much happening on top of the head there for Mick, as you said earlier, Finey, but kicks it straight to Buckley. Inboard, good intercept. Gordon Fode takes the mark and keeps running. He's had 2 bounces, turning defence into attack. Left foot kick in the Lockett direction. Oh, gee. Beaten by the siren.
Oh, wow.
So what a quarter.
We're back on here in the second quarter. Matthew Larkin gets a ball from the centre bounce, and we're back here at Moorabbin with St Kilda leading by 4 goals after a great first quarter. Dean Rice eludes a couple of tacklers, kicks the ball forward, but this man, and Bruce pointed it out early on, they might be losing North Melbourne, but Matthew Larkin may well be best on ground at the moment. He marks well. Handballs to his partner in crime, Peter German, and Peter German kicks the ball long. In the van there was Paul Harding. Good defensive play by McDonald. Knocked the ball to Cracker. And I think that might be holding the man to the North Melbourne. So no, umpire calls play on. The ball swung forward. Here's an opportunity. Handball. Sweeps out. Arsiri. He's kicked one already. He's kicked two. Mark Arsiri puts his second on the board. And the North Melbourne Rover has proved a handful. Great play there by Mick Martin. Swung forward. Able to handball the ball out to Arsiri. And that is the third on the board for the Roos. St Kilda 6-2-38. Lead North Melbourne 3-20.
So important first goal of the second term. The Roos now with whatever breeze there is here at Moorabbin today. Back to an 18-point ball game. Saints led by 24 points at the first change. Tony Lockett with 3 of their 6 goals. Bryce jumps high, wins the tap. Bowie runs onto it. Looked like he was caught high by Arsiri. Umpire calls play on. The Saints force it towards centre half forward over the head of Stuart Lowe. It bounces awkwardly. We are playing with an egg, remember. Grabbed there by Rod Owen. Kicks on the left boot. Lockett out the back. Takes the mark. Open goal. Runs in and boots it out of the stadium. Big plugger has 4. And the Saints with the quick response there. 7-2-44. North Melbourne a 3-2-20. Early going of the second term. And Lockett now up to 53 majors for the season in 7 games, 1 quarter and a handful of minutes.
Cracking game of football, this one. North Melbourne out of the blocks quickly in the second quarter through the agency of Arsiri, but St Kilda able to respond through their beloved full forward Tony Lockett. So once again back to a 4-goal margin as it was at quarter time. The ball in the centre of the ground. Beautiful day here at Moorabbin. Bryce contests with Harding. The ball comes to Daniels, knocked out further afield to Arsiri. He's had a very good start to this game and he chips it very smartly down to the forward line. Opportunity again for Arsiri, who ran onto the ball. Gee, a trailing leg there. Should be a free kick against him. And Brett Bowie, the recipient. Dangerous play there by Arsiri. Kicks the ball to centre wing. You can see it holding up in the breeze now. German gets a sleek handball to Wayne Schwass. Schwass kicks the ball further forward for North Melbourne. And this time Mickey Martin is able to muscle his way in front of Danny Frawley. And the young full forward, having switched from the back line, has an opportunity to put North Melbourne within 3 goals. So you can certainly see the breeze having an effect there. And as you said in the first quarter, Beaver, we won't know until half-time exactly what that 4-goal lead was worth for the Saints.
It's not the most fluent of kicking styles on young Mick Martin, Finey.
Leans back, kicks goalwards, and ungainly, but through.
But effective.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Hey, they don't draw the picture in the scorebook. They simply put down 1 major. And Mick Martin has kicked his first for the afternoon on Danny Frawley.
It doesn't say how, just how many. And North 2-1 in this second term, which has only travelled 4 or 5 minutes. 7-2 plays 4-2. Fast-paced game at Moorabbin. The Saints 3-4. The Kangas 5-2. It's 5th playing 10th. It's St Kilda so hard to beat here at their home fortress. Winmar goes to ground. He got a push from Ben Buckley. Doesn't like the call, the North Melbourne utility, but he has to return the red Sharon to the West Australian star. Kicks in the low direction. Couldn't quite take the mark. German, really clean hands. Wobbles a kick out towards the outer centre wing. Ramiro goes to ground. The 236 is going at it. And the umpire says that Gordon Fode has infringed. So Jose Ramiro to centre half forward. Huge pack fly. Jimmy Cracker front and centre. Bowie held on to him in the tackle for a long time after the ball spilt free. North Melbourne try and surge it forward again. Harding stumbles. St Kilda still got some numbers around it, but North applying a lot of pressure. Eventually another free kick's picked out. And Peter Russo's been a good contributor today, Mark. He takes the free kick quickly.
Gets it further afield, picked up by Stuart Lowe, who's certainly, since about halfway through the first quarter, had a big impact on the game. Dwyer coming out of the back line for North Melbourne, finds his man, and it's Alistair Clarkson. So the on-ballers of both teams having a good say. Poor kick by Clarkson, didn't really look up. Only man in the van was Danny Frawley, and he gets the ball further afield to David Grant, who finds his man Jason Daniels on the wing. So good exit play by the Saints. Jason Daniel, big sweeping handball, puts Dane Rice under immense pressure. Umpire says holding the ball. Not your fault, Dean. Oh no, he's paid the free kick to Dean Rice, so too high.
Yep, too high.
Okay, well, fair enough. I'm not going to argue. Dean Rice kicks the ball to the target in Stuart Lowe. This time getting in front of him would have been Hepburn. Now, this time it goes against the Saints. And I reckon that was hard yards. Free kick against Corgamulis, and Wayne Schwass is going to relieve for North Melbourne.
Yeah, some strange interpretations by umpires Cameron and Howlett so far. This breeze is stiffening here at Linton Street as Cracker gets it out to Larkin. He's done so much damage. He kicks it towards full forward. Dwyer at the back fumbles. Left hand handball didn't do Clarkson any favours. Martin, he's already kicked one this term, almost missed his boot. St Kilda again under the cosh here. Grabbed there by, just trying to pick up who actually that was, as Grant sees it over the boundary line. And left forward pocket at the South Road end will have a throw in. 25 around from the North Melbourne goal. Kangaroos pressing, they trail by 18 points.
Harding at the back knocks the ball to Jeff Cunningham. Stacks on the middle, finally gets out to Harding. Big sweeping handball to clear the pressure. Mick Dwyer does the right thing, knocks it out of bounds. Interesting, North Melbourne don't really have a frontline ruckman today, so the duties are being shared by McDonald, Bryce and Hepburn. St Kilda, though, they're going with Paul Harding, and he's certainly dominating the ruck contest at the moment and gets a free kick accordingly, this time McDonald in his back. So Paul Harding, former Western Australian, came to Victoria to play with Hawthorn and has been an excellent pickup for the Saints.
50-metre
penalty.
Yep, ball wasn't returned to him correctly.
McDonald backpedalling, Paul Harding. Now, that's a short 50 metres, but he'll take what was given. Big kick forward. Again, held up in the breeze. Cleared by Ben Buckley. Only swings it as far as David Grant. So a good wall of defence for St Kilda. Grant goes one way, then the other. Swings back onto the right boot. Looking for Stuart Lowe at centre forward. And Tony Lockett! Wow.
What a mark.
In the olden days, they said if Lily won't get you, then Tomo will. Well, at Moorabbin, it's either Stuart Lowe or Tony Lockett. One of them is likely to pull down a big mark. Short kick, not the best by Tony Lockett. Intercepted by North Melbourne. Germans had a great game off the half-back flank.
German, under pressure on the left foot, back almost to centre wing. Kick it front and centre, did well, took too long to get rid of it. Pickpocketed by Jack Daniels. Look away, handball to Dwyer. Dwyer kicks it to the hot spot. Big fly, good mark, taken by Bryce there. North Melbourne, they'll rebound quickly, and Kicker, who's starting to prove a handful. He's got the football out on centre wing. Moves it forward, a wobbly sort of kick to McDonald. He was clean below his knees, back to kick it, mown down by Daniels. Great tackle by the red-headed youngster. And the Saints now on the rebound. Chain of handballs through Burke into the hands of Dwyer. The kick in the direction of Lockett. No mark taken. Rod Owen tries to storm through. Corgamulis picks it up. This way, then that. Left foot snap it. Goal! Cross the face. Lowe's got it. Can he get round one? Not really. Gotch, who hasn't had a lot to do so far. The little fella tries to lay a tackle, but it's a 3-on-1. McCarthy to Chandler, and North again with the rebound.
Chandler kicks the ball right into the centre of the Moorabbin football ground, and a great mark by Alistair Clarkson. He's an impressive youngster as well. Big sweeping handball, this time to Wayne Schwass. Pursued by Winmarsh. Schwass able to swing around and get a kick away, but only as far as David Grant and Paul Harding. In there also for North Melbourne was Ben Buckley. Harding, good work for a big man. Handballs further afield, knocked on by Ingleton. An opportunity for Grant, this time though Schwass. Pressure applied by the Saints is immense. Harding gets the ball in the centre of the ground. The running Cunningham. Nice handball. Further afield to Bowie. Back to Harding. This is good football, St Kilda. And they look out for Stuart Lowe, who marks 50 metres out on the paint, kicking the ball down to the southern end of the ground.
He's into the teeth of the breeze, so no chance to score. Well, he just set it up to the top of the square. Good purchase on the kick. Lockett has to fly against sweep. Gotch front and centre. Has he nailed it? I think he has. Poacher's goal for Bradley Gotch. He combines with Tony Lockett so well, the little fella. And the Saints get an important one into the breeze, and they've been very accurate as well. 8-2-50, plays 4-2-26 at the 10-minute mark of the second quarter. And that's clearly Peter Jackson 30s. They must be having some deals on suits and shirts and the like.
Ball in the centre of the ground. St Kilda's been able to maintain that 4-goal lead. 10 minutes into the quarter, though, kicking against the breeze. Beautiful tap out by Harding. Snared by Larkin. Opportunity for Dwyer. Dispossessed. Winmar. St Kilda go forward again. Deep into their attack. Lockett's there. Knocked away this time by McCarthy. And Kickett, who's been impressive. Oh, great grab and spin by Kickett. Gets the ball ultimately to Schloss. Beautiful play by the North footballer. Knocked out of bounds though by Jeff Cunningham. Sees the ball to safety. That was great play by Kickett. Picked up the ball on the blind turn all in one movement, and Frumpai finds a free kick. I didn't see it. Jeff Cunningham questions quite rightly. McDonald kicks the ball further afield. Oh, great kick and mark. Opportunity for Cracker, and Jimmy Cracker doesn't miss from there. Right through the middle. St Kilda supporters not happy. Don't know what the free kick was for, but they took full toll.
Yep, all a bit easy in the end, and Jimmy Cracker, as Finey, you so correctly said, he rarely misses when given that much time and space, and it's back to an 18-point ball game. 8-2 plays 5-2. I'd love to see a replay of what that free kick was for. Softest part of the turf there in the shade, made by the GG Huggins stand, the social club stand here at Moorabbin. A little perplexing. Can't do anything about it now, as the Saints will get the clearance. Russo ball to boot quickly over the head of Corkamillis, who's there to Crum. Lowe tries to create a path. Corkamillis goes again. Dwyer in there as well. Shrugs off Hepburn. Snaps over his shoulder. That is a magnificent goal, except it's touched. And as you can see, the St Kilda cheer squad giving the goal umpire plenty of advice about what they thought of that decision. Must have just been a fingernail from John McCarthy. St Kilda now lead by 19 points.
McCarthy looking to put the ball back into play, and it's normally a pretty good kick, and he's no exception this time. Kicks it up to Bryce. Was he interfered with going for the mark? I'm not quite sure. Russo at the fall of the ball. Hepburn meets him strongly. Larkin, handball, further afield. Finally taken by Buckley. Ben Buckley kicks the ball forward and finds his man, the sprawling Mick Martin, and he might be within range. About 48 metres out. No. He's going to go further afield, and slack marking by the Saints, and Wayne Schloss finds himself 10 metres closer to goal. A lot of pointing there by Danny Frawley, but that's not going to solve the problem. And here's an opportunity for North Melbourne to claw back another goal. They currently trail by 19 points, and Schloss probably on his limit. Let's see what he can do. He's going to finally kick the ball from about 48 metres out. This one's well offline though. Doesn't register a score, out of bounds on the full.
The Morris medalist of a couple of years ago, the year in which Tony Lockett won the Brownlow and Brad Gotch won the Gardner medal. There's Joffa Cunningham from the right back pocket, hugs the boundary line. Winmar and Rice, they both got a piece of it. Dean Rice, the 21-year-old, handballs inboard. Cracker played for the free kick, and did he bluff the umpire? Advantage called anyway to the hot spot. Cunningham and McDonald going the same way as the flight of the footy. Clarkson out the back, went without it. Grant and Kickett and Cunningham all fight on after it. The umpire's soon enough. And as you can see, the ground just chopping up a little bit at that southern end. The veteran Peter Cameron in the tight shorts bounces the footy. Harding with the double palm down. Rice looking for the boundary line. And Grant is actually pushed over the line with the football by Kickett. And we'll have another boundary throw in. St Kilda by 19 points, but North attacking relentlessly in this second term.
Knocked down by McDonald. Stacks on the mill. Dean Rice is one of the first there. Diving over the top of the ball would have been Paul Harding. Was he held? Umpire says no. Clarkson comes out, snaps the ball over the shoulder. Deep into the forward line. Ball bounces and bounces back into play. Unlucky there for North Melbourne. As pointed out by Beaver, it ain't round. It does some odd things, and on this occasion bounced back into play and was able to be forced through for a point by Jeff Cunningham. So, St Kilda, 3 goals to the good. David Grant kicks the ball out, looking for, well, I don't know who he was looking for, and if it's not touched, it's going to be a free kick to North Melbourne, and that's exactly what happens, transpires. Ben Buckley kicks the ball centre and finds his man, Mark Arceri,
who's been a good contributor, has kicked a couple of goals. Kicks in the Martin direction. Frawley puts his fist through it. Ramiro front and centre. Snapped it over his shoulder. And an important mark to David Grant. What a game he is playing. Sweeps it out to in front of the social club. Nathan Burke couldn't quite complete the mark. And we'll have a boundary thrown. That boundary umpire working overtime in the last 6 or 7 minutes. So the Saints in this second quarter have kicked 2 goals, as the Roos have kicked 3. And Schwash was given a long time to get rid of it. A bit of confusion here. No advantage paid. The free kick will come back to David Grant, and he's going to kick it long to a contest on centre wing.
Big fist and spoiled by Stuart Lowe, and that boundary umpire continues to work overtime, and he'll be throwing it back in just forward of centre for North Melbourne. St Kilda lead by 3 goals here at Moorabbin, and we've gone over 20 minutes into the second quarter. St Kilda, Dwyer. Now, what can Mick Dwyer do? Looks centrewards, and the kick just short. Not able to be picked up by Kukumilis. Coming back the other way, Peter German. He's able to kick the ball forward, but intercepted by Danny Frawley onto Gordon Fode. Fode with the left boot, looks further afield, right on the centre wing. Bowie overruns the ball. Ross Smith picks it up. Handball to Peter German, who's been instrumental in a lot of defensive play by North Melbourne. Dwyer. Here comes North Melbourne. Handball to Romero. St Kilda's are going to have to be on their medal here. And the centering kick is perfect. Alistair Clarkson, great transfer of play by North Melbourne. Not much St Kilda could have done on that account. And an opportunity for Alistair Clarkson. And he's been in a handful of very good players for North Melbourne. An opportunity for Clarkson to bring the game back to within 2 goals. Clarkson leans back on the ball right through the middle. And we've got a 2-goal game here at Moorabbin. St Kilda 51 lead, North Melbourne 39. 8 goals 3 to 6 goals 3. Beaver, probably the play of the day there by North Melbourne, running the ball along the outer boundary line and kicking it centrewards to Clarkson, who finished off their good work.
No doubt about that, Finey. 4 goals to 2 in this second term. And still more than enough time for the Kangas to do more damage. 4-1 to 2-1 to be precise. St Kilda led by 24 points at quarter time. That margin has been halved. As the bounce favours Harding, tries to swipe it over his head. Gotch with a wild handball forward. Lowe tried to punch it further afield. Ball comes back to Rod Owen, who kicks on his left boot. And Lockett, well, not so much out of position. The kick was always dropping short. And McCarthy with the intercept mark. To centre wing. Daniel sets himself. Schwash with the big punch. 2 fine young wingers there. Dwyer at the fall. Can he spin out of trouble? Clarkson lays a good tackle. Winmar goes to ground. Daniels picks up the crumb. He's got 3 Kangaroos around him. Handballs forward. Dwyer, just a little attack of the fumbles. Buckley tries to mow him down. Gotch picks up the loose footy. Handball to Russo. Strong through the hips. Gets another handball forward to Burke. Tackled there by Brett Allison. Gee, it's a hard football to win. Bryce grabs it for North. Back whence it came. Again, Daniels and Schwash do the contesting. Gee, this is really tough in the trenches at the moment. Again, Daniels and Schwash go after it. Finally over the boundary line, and a throw in right next to the St Kilda race. About the spot where Gary Sidebottom was hit by the can about 9 years ago.
A glancing blow that brought him to a ground like a shot elephant. The ball thrown back in. Harding knocks it down, but picked up beautifully there by Dwyer. And the twinkle toes of Dwyer are on display. Kicks the ball to centre half forward. David Grant, who's been fantastic for St Kilda, gets it to Cunningham, who's been pretty good himself. Cunningham further afield to Harding. Harding gets the ball moving quickly. Got to Owen. This is good play by the Saints. Owen streams forward up to the forward line, and Tony Lockett, surely the umpire will pay that one. That was St Kilda's best passage. Not dissimilar to North Melbourne's previous goal, and when he can string a couple of handballs together, get some run through the middle of the ground, this man Tony Lockett is going to be very, very hard to beat.
Lining up for his 5th, Finey.
4 straight so far for Tony Lockett. The not so great McCarthy on the mark. Hunched, as always. Focused. Ball held slightly over the right boot. He goes back and right through the middle. I think the umpire would offer him a 15-metre penalty if he wanted it. And maybe it wasn't through the middle because he's taking the 15-metre penalty.
So McCarthy's clearly jumped over the mark. And up by Peter Cameron, right on the spot.
Oh, nothing eludes Peter Cameron, includes some things that never happened. But on this occasion, he was right on the money.
And you think this rule one day will be fixed where Lockett now should be directly in front?
It's funny
because you see that happening one day finally.
It's funny because he's standing in the middle of the goals and I don't know, seems odd. Yep, maybe sometime in the future they'll fix that one up, but on this occasion Tony Lockett boots another one out of Linton Street, so the local kids are having a feast on the back of Tony Lockett's 2 booming goals in the second quarter, and St Kilda not regain the lead, but return to an 18-point lead, 9-3, 57, 6-3, 39. And I've got to say, on a day where the wind, as you said, has swirled around a little bit, decent goal kicking by both teams.
Indeed, total of 15 goals, 6 kicked for the match, as you can see on the St Kilda scoreboard, approaching 3 o'clock local time on a glorious Saturday afternoon. Linton Street, Moorabbin, the venue for this big game between the Saints and the Roos. Again, the bounce favours Paul Harding. Schwash in off the wing, and he can kick it forward. Robbie Elphingston on for his first run today with the spoil, but Jimmy Cracker, as always, front and centre, gets to so many contests, and that's a neat pass. And I think that's David Dwyer out there that's taking the mark at right half forward. And he is well within range with the aid of the breeze over his shoulder. And North Melbourne trailing by 18 points. They have won the quarter by a goal, but they'd like to be a bit closer as Dwyer gets under the drop punt. It's certainly got the distance though, and the goal umpire didn't move too much. And it's another one for the Roos. And we're back to that 2-goal margin. And as Mark Fine told you a moment or so ago, the conversion rate has been spectacular in these occasionally tricky conditions today. North moved to 7-3-45. St Kilda 9-3-57. And as you can also see, number 6 saluted again in race 4. 22 and a half minutes into the second term here at Moorabbin.
Back in the centre of the ground, umpire Haler slams it into the turf, and this time a good knock by Donald McDonald. Well, it couldn't have been because he just picked up the ball. Gets it to Dwyer, he kicks it further afield, and Siri marks in front of the trailing Jason Daniels. Too far out to score, kicks it centrewards. Peter German, one of North Melbourne's best this afternoon. Again, too far out to score. St Kilda need to pick up their men, and Dwyer drifted forward. That's too easy, St Kilda. And just a couple of times in the last 5 or 10 minutes, Beaver, St Kilda's marking in the back half has left a lot to be desired. So, North Melbourne, a chance to pull within 1 goal. Dwyer kicked a goal just a moment ago. Kicks it deep into the teeth of goal. This time doesn't make the distance. Accurate as it was, knocked through by Harding and co. So, we're down to an 11-point margin. Danny Frawley to put the ball back in for the Saints.
Yeah, the St Kilda captain. And as you said, Finey, I'm sure the Doc Darryl Baldock will be scribbling notes regarding wanting the defence to tighten up in the second half. We're late in the second term. Back in it comes inside North's forward 50. Cunningham with a handball to Robbie Elphingston. The Eel handballs out wide to Brad Gotch, who's already taken 2 bounces, make it 3. Onto that neat left boot of his. And you give a bloke a rap. No, here's a beautiful kick of the footy, but that time just a little astray. And Chandler with the double fister. Over the boundary it goes. As you can see, the big crowd packed in, particularly on the members' stand side here at Linton Street. We'll have a throw in almost at right half forward for the Saints.
Stewie Lowe to compete with Hepburn, and he's able to get the ball to the back of the pack. Stacks on the mill. What will the umpire do? Rod Owen barges his way through. Well played. Britt Bowie trails back. Russo tries to get the ball further afield to Bowie. This is desperate stuff from both teams. Schwass clears the defensive lines right to centre wing. At the back of the pack, Harding an opportunity to mark. 1 grab, 2 unsuccessful. Dwyer on top of the ball. Players going in left, right and centre, and ultimately a free kick to St Kilda. Or against St Kilda. The crowd not too happy, I'll tell you what, if you don't mind umpire.
Oh, lucky we're objective, Finey.
Jason Love's on the ground.
Yeah, Jack Love, as McDonald's made to kick over the mark. And he kicks towards centre half forward, and Paul Harding, what a game he's playing. Glorious mark. Intercept grab at right half back. On the members' wing. Stuart Lowe the target. Another huge grab. And that North player crash landing there. I think that might have been, was it Paul Bryce? Kick from Lowe in the Corcamilis direction. No mark taken. Bryce has recovered and he hacks a kick forward. It's out of bounds on the full, much to the delight of the red, white and black faithful. And the free kick, once the Sharon is thrown back into the field of play will be taken by Stewie Lowe, who find he's had a big first half.
He's absolutely wrapped his big hands around just about everything that's come his way. Stuart Lowe kicks the ball just shy of the 50-metre mark. Winmar not so effective this half, goes up for the mark. And a free kick to Jose Romero. Well, the umpires have gone whistle happy, and I can't explain the best part of them. Romero kicks the ball almost to the centre of the ground. A good mark there by McDonald. Yep, no, that's a fair mark. And McDonald swings the ball centrewards, looking for Peter German. Springboarded many attacks this afternoon, he and Larkin. One bounce, two bounces by German. Nobody trailing him, so he gets to 50 metres. He can have a long shot at goal. And I'll tell you what, it's not bad. That's what happens when you let Peter German free. Jawohl, mein Commandant. One goal, all clear.
Goal of the day, Finey. Clearly goal of the day for Peter Jackson and Snowdelly. Roos back within a kick.
Snowdelly, proud sponsors of St Kilda, and didn't they provide a lot of small goods for St Kilda through the late 80s?
Magnificent. 9-3 to 8-4. We're going to shoot out at Moorabbin, and the Roos coming hard in this second term with the aid of the slight breeze. Peter Cameron studying concentration, perfect bounce. Harding wins the tap. North through McDonald, will go forward, but only as far. I think that was Gotchu. Fired the handball to Dwyer, who finds himself in some space. Could have kept running. Kicked out to Lockett. He got a push, surely. Mark and/or free kick. And the big fella, this would be a really tough kick. Body language suggests he's going to centre it. And that's what he does. Out to the fat side of the ground, although I'm not sure if that phrase is yet being used in league football. Daniels can't control it. Larkin there again, quieter in this second term, but still good. Jack Daniels overruns it. Larkin goes again. What about the pickup? The bounce. Now two. The look away handball then to his mate out wide in Arceri. Drives it into the forward pocket. North might be in front in a second or two here. Getting back is Cunningham and feeling the pressure from Cracker. Happy to see it over the boundary line. And we'll have a throw in. Oh no, surely not. Now has it come off Joffa's boot or insufficient intent?
Must have been out of bounds on the full, because that level of insufficient intent
in 1989.
Yeah, that predates anything I've seen. Now, here's a little problem for St Kilda Beaver. They are simply not manning up in the back line. Cracker was able to short pass it to McDonald. The ball was called back, and now he's been able to short pass it to Jason Love. So I don't love that. Love just came on the ground a few moments ago, and he's going to look to put North Melbourne ahead at the major break. A big, high kick goes forward, across the face of goal, falls to kick it. Opportunity well tackled by Cunningham. Desperate stuff. Frawley on top of the ball. Stacks on the bell. Umpire's got to say, ball up surely. I tell you what, it's getting a little bit unfriendly in there as well. No surprise with Mick Martin involved.
That was a very aggressive launch and landing, if you like, by Kickett on top of Spud Frawley, who was pretty much defenceless, laying on his back there, as we can see Ben Eagleton exchanging views. Now, I think this is going to have to come back. Confusion reigns at Moorabbin late in the second term. Derek Kickett, they're being spoken to. Understandably, he's got to be a little bit more careful in his. We want to see a good attack on the footy, but that could have been resulted in a serious injury. Danny Frawley, the recipient of the free kick in the last line.
So St Kilda desperately trying to hang on to this lead heading into half-time, and they're looking forward to that half-time siren. Big kick out to the centre of the ground, out to the wing. Russo grabbed by Schwass. Did he have the ball? Umpire said yes. Chance for Ramiro to put the Roos in front at half-time, and they're certainly going to lead in the shadows of half-time, because they've hit the front. North Melbourne, a point to the good on the back of a smart goal by Jose Romero. St Kilda really fighting a defensive battle at the moment. 9-4-34 to 9-3-57. North hit the front for the first time in the afternoon, and as I said, really hanging on and just hoping for that half-time siren to go. The defensive six that have held such good shape for most of the half seem to have lost their way in the last few minutes, Chris.
We might still have a couple of minutes to go, Finey, because it's been a 10-goal quarter. 7 to the visitors, 3 to the home side into the breeze. North Melbourne by a point. Can the Saints reclaim the lead before the main change. Russo emerges from the traffic with it and kicks to centre half forward. Was that a push on Gotch? Umpire said yes it was. So the Saints will get a late chance here. Bradley Gotch, the ex-Lion, kicking a half from home. He'll set it up in the Lockett direction. Could have been an arm chop. Pity free kicks aren't paid for that in 1989. North Melbourne to rebound. And maybe they've got time to get another one. The long kick from right half back. Cunningham with the spoil. Gets to the back of the contest. Might have been Bryce that forced it forward. Across the arc it goes. Kick it. Trying to control it. You think you'll get a few boos here. Almost handballs to his own advantage. Russo, who's been immense in this first half, paddles it to his own advantage. Gets it to Dwyer. Tackled as he handballed out in front of him. Should be holding the man. And I think that's the way it's going to go. Mick Dwyer to take a free kick defensive side of centre wing.
Kicks the ball forward and up in the top of the pack there was Rod Owen. An unusual roll for Stuart Lowe, roving to Bowie and straight on the chest of Tony Lockett. Well, it was Stuart Lowe turned rover, handball to the Bowie riding shotgun, and here's an opportunity for Tony Lockett to return the lead for the Saints. And I'll tell you what, with 5 goals straight to his credit, you'd be a brave man to bet against him. So an opportunity for the Saints to regain the lead as we approach half-time down here at Moorabbin. Lockett, a picture of concentration. Gets close to the man on the mark. That doesn't affect his accuracy though. Right through the middle. Tony Lockett kicks half a dozen before half-time, and that's 55 for the season in 7.5 games. Don't we love full forwards kicking big bags? It's a feature of this game. Always has been, always will be.
Surely he's on track to break the 150 record this year.
Wouldn't it be fantastic? And
of Pratt and Hudson. As you said, Finey, 55 goals in 7.5 games. Remembering West Coast to come to Moorabbin next week. Let's hope
what could go wrong there?
Yes, what could go wrong? Let's hope Guy McKenna doesn't get on the plane. But anyway, back underway, close to half time. Grant was caught high. Cunningham clears a path, full chested as always. Joffa Cunningham, right half forward, and Ron Owen with a round arm swipe, making his North Melbourne opponent earn it. And by gee, that was a willing first half. St Kilda by 5 points at the break, Finey. Start of the second half, St Kilda by 5 points in a shootout at Moorabbin, 10-3 to 9-4, and the Saints will go forward first. Loose ball bouncing out towards left half forward. St Kilda with the breeze in this third quarter to the South Road end after North Melbourne kicked 7 goals in the second term. David Dwyer pumps it along centre wing. Oh, David Grant, is he going to be pinged for that? Yeah, just missed time. He has got springs in his boots. He can take a spectacular grab. Missed time the jump, Finey. Alistair Clarkson with a free kick centre wing.
Clarkson puts the ball into the forward 50 for North Melbourne. Mick Martin's there. Dean Rice tracks the ball back. Danny Frawley also on top of the ball, and this one's going to go out of bounds. Deep in the forward line for North Melbourne. St Kilda by 5 points. They lead by 24 at quarter time and 5 at the half. St Kilda kicking with the agency of what breeze there is. Up in the ruck is Stuart Lowe. Deep in defence for St Kilda. Bowie handballs blind over his shoulder. Knocked further afield by Russo and taken over the boundary line by Dwyer of North Melbourne. So, everything to play for here at Moorabbin, where St Kilda are unbeaten in season 89. Stuart Lowe at the front of the pack again. Over the back was McDonald. Rice overruns the ball. Ben Ingleton was there, and once again, quite a timid start to the second half as the ball out of bounds again on the 50-metre line for North Melbourne.
Saints will draw within a game of the Kangas, who currently are in 5th spot, just inside the top 5 there. If they win today, as North Melbourne's flying shot at goal, just looked down at my footy record, I slightly missed it. I think it was Peter German.
It was Peter German.
It was Peter German. So North the first score of the third quarter. They're 5-2, Saints 3-4. So St Kilda looking to square the ledger today. Frawley a long kick in with his great mate Stuart Lowe. Takes a big mark over Donald McDonald. 4-point ball game. The kick to centre wing. Harding on a long lead. Takes the mark. Handballs to the running Russo, who kicks it towards left half forward. Ron Owen got a piece of it. Couldn't complete the mark. That's been a good battle with Chandler. And the ball is out of bounds. 60 to 65 around from the St Kilda goal. You can see the Well, we can see finally the fans still filing out of the Murray Hartlett bar after some half-time refreshment.
Picked up by Dwyer from the subsequent throw-in, and he takes the ball right into the centre of Moorabbin. Tracking back there would have been Frost, gets the ball to McDonald. North Melbourne attacking early in this second half, and they find their man, Mick Martin, too far out to score, but he's quickly turned around, looking to put pressure on the St Kilda back line by kicking it deep into the forward line. In fact, that one's almost travelled the entire distance, finally knocked through. Alistair Clarkson went for the mark. That was a long kick. Maybe the breeze has faded a little bit. David Grant to take the subsequent kick in. St Kilda by 3 points down here on a beautiful day at Moorabbin.
David Grant with the kick in, well picked up, Finey. Yeah, although that long kick from David Grant, that seemed to travel a little further on the breeze. Stuart Lowe took the mark, didn't break stride, left foot kick to centre wing. Awkward bouncing ball. Owen and Chandler go shoulder to shoulder, and it's back over the boundary line in front of the St Kilda dugout. That boundary umpire, he certainly worked overtime today. So
you don't see many blonde boundary umpires.
No, that's yep. I'll let you segue from that, but I'm hearing you. Chandler's kick up the chimney, back down it came. Dwyer seemed to be about the only player that actually wanted it. Wobble to kick the centre half. What's McCarthy doing down there? Maybe he has been moved off Lockett, who did kick a bag full of 5 or 6 on him in the first half.
Yeah, need half dozen, so the move's been made.
McCarthy at centre half forward to give North Melbourne the lead with the first goal of the second half. Into this slight breeze, directly in front of the Nepean Highway end. He gets under his drop punt, swinging left to right, but he has kicked it. And North take the lead early in the third term. They move to 10-6-66. St Kilda still anchored on their halftime score, 10-3-63, and the Saints have got a fight on their hand, Mark Fine.
They certainly do. We've played 5 minutes into this second half, and it's been all North Melbourne. They've attacked incessantly and finally get their reward. That tumbling kick found John McCarthy, and the move has paid off immediately with the North Melbourne defender turned forward kicking a goal. So North Melbourne lead by 3 points. Back in the centre of the ground, Cameron puts the ball down and knocked away by Harding, who's had a great day in the ruck, to Russo, who's also done well through the centre bounces. Chandler in front of Owen. He's starting to get on top of Lockett, and Chandler gets the ball to Paul Bryce, whose kick is a scrubby one, trails out to the boundary line, and that boundary umpire, do it again, mate. If you got paid per boundary throw-in, he'd be shouting the bar tonight.
He might need some work on his right shoulder come the end of today.
Harding knocks it down. German tracking the ball back. Chandler again has had a good start to the second half.
So ball up, 60-65 out from the St Kilda goal in front of the passionate and boisterous GG Huggins stand, the St Kilda Social Club, as umpire Howlett slams it into the hallowed turf here at Moorabbin. Swat towards the boundary line. Dwyer might have copped one stray elbow to the head then from Chandler. Umpire missed it. And there's our man again. More work to do with yet another boundary throw. Harding and Bryce. Harding just takes his own tap. Trying to handball to Winmar, just a little error. Schwash emerges with it, kicks on his non-preferred right, screws it round the corner. And yep, you guessed it, as David Grant couldn't take the mark, we'll have yet another throw-in.
Dead set centre wing at Moorabbin, North Melbourne by 3 points in the second half of this all-important clash. As Beaver said, St Kilda looking to draw within a goal of the Roos. Russo kicks the ball forward, deep into the forward line, clears the pack, big fist away by North Melbourne. I tell you what, if there was any intent, it was only to see the ball out of bounds, but umpire says that's okay, and it's going to be a throw in about 40 metres around from the St Kilda goal. Kane Taylor on for the Saints. Harding put forward in the ruck battle by Bryce. Owen at the back of the pack, able to get it to Dwyer. Dwyer handballs further afield to Corkamilas. Here's a chance for the former Blue. Corkamilas swings under the right boot and kicks it through for a goal. Saints back in front. Important goal there for the Saints. And Spiro Corkamilas, fairly quiet in the first half, was able to swing around onto the right and put through an important goal for St Kilda. St Kilda 11-3-69, great kicking at goal. Lead North Melbourne 10-6-66. and the sequence of sixes is finally broken at the races. Race 5, number 5, Beaver. I hope you're all right.
No, I wasn't, Finey, but that's okay. What do you like in the next? We'll come back to that.
I'll go for number 3.
Okay, I'll go for number 7. Lowy in the ruck and smashes it forward. St Kilda surging forward now. We've got a new lease at life after that goal to Corcamilla, so it's coming straight back the other way. Going to ground there was Arsiri, but he's still got a handball out wide. Dwyer received it from German. Kane Taylor on for his first run for the day, tries to corral him. He can't. Big kick to centre forward. Low in from the side, got a piece of it. Couldn't complete the mark. Ingleton got an unkind bounce. Rice's handball was battered down. German followed up. Left foot snapped to the top of the square. Frawley and Martin gets to the back of the contest. Awkward bounce. Little snap over the shoulder. Which way is this going? Is it a goal? It is. Is it Arsiri again? He's dobbed his third, Finey, and North are back in front as valuable minutes, as you can see from the North Melbourne cheer squad flags, valuable minutes with the breeze for the Saints, but they're trailing 11-3 to 11-6 as we approach the 8.5 minute mark, approach the 9 minute mark of this third term.
Well, I would suggest St Kilda need to do something to quell the impact of Peter German. He is starting to take this game by the scruff of the neck. Donald McDonald first up at the ruck, but once again Harding dominating in the ruck. Picks up his own ball. He's having a heck of a game, the West Australian. Paul Harding kicks it forward, but it's all North Melbourne. Ross Smith deep in defence. Gets it out to Allison, and Allison on the left kicks the ball further afield. German, that man again. Pick him up, St Kilda. German kicks the ball forward into the path of Dwyer. Well tracked back by Burke. Burke gets the handball to Bowie, and Bowie relieves for St Kilda. Kicks the ball further afield. Opportunity for Ron Owen. Was he grabbed, or was it David Grant? I think David Grant, and it should be a free kick to the Sterling St Kilda defender. David Grant dead centre wing.
Grant's going to drive it forward with a 60-metre drop punt. It carries on the breeze, but I think, was that maybe Hepburn there at the back? Just hacks it out of the defensive area. Dwyer leads in the race for the footy. Got an unkind bounce. Luckily got out of the way from the oncoming Swash. Lowe took a long time to get rid of it. Almost run down by Cracker. Ball spilt free to Swash. The aggressive young winger, handballs to Larkin, wrapped up by Rice in a tackle. This game's gone up a notch, Finey. Ball close to the boundary line. Widmark clean below his knees as always. Straightens the body to kick on the right boot and hoofs it to within about 50 metres of goal. Lowe sits underneath it. Big fly by Rod Owen. Control the loose ball momentarily. North Melbourne defending grimly here. St Kilda need another goal. Allison, he kicks out of the defensive area. Sits up on its end. Larkin sees it over the line. And yet another boundary throw in.
All the action on the members' side here for St Kilda at Moorabbin, the members' side of the ground. Up in the ruck, contesting Paul Harding. Knocks it down, but only as far as Schwass, who kicks the ball further afield. Good contest by both forward and defender there. Knocked further down. Bowie gets onto the left boot. Big kick. Oh no, it's a scrubber. It's actually a shocker. Well picked up there by Peter German again, and Peter German relieves for North Melbourne. Kicks it further afield. Jason Love at the back of the back. Here's an opportunity for Love. Sticks the boot in the ball. It's a one-on-one contest. Danny Frawley likes it, but Martin picks it up. Great play by Mick Martin. Kicks it goalwards, and the North Melbourne defender turned forward has put North Melbourne 9 points to the good.
So Mick Martin, an unlikely target up forward as a bit of a skirmish breaks out at right half forward for the Kangaroos. Mick Martin has 2 goals now, Finey. North out by 9 points, kicking into the breeze. And Joffa Cunningham there getting a bit of a talking to from umpire Peter Cameron. And the Saints have a problem into the breeze. North have kicked 3 goals to 1 and lead it by a kick and a half.
Well, Kanga Kennedy has definitely swung the changes, and they seem to be working. He moved McCarthy off out of the back line at the start of this half, a goal. Mick Martin, of course, came out of the back line earlier on in the game, and he's kicked a couple. So he's swinging moves at both ends of the ground, and now a lot of responsibility on the likes of Hepburn and Bryce. Harding, who's been so dominant in the ruck, knocks it down again, but sharp by Dwyer. Dwyer gets the handball to Schwass. North Melbourne looking irresistible at the moment. Schwass breaks clear onto that reliable left boot, kicks it goalwards, and it's another one for North Melbourne. All of a sudden, the Saints, despite kicking with the breeze in the third quarter, find themselves 15 points down. North have put the pedal to the metal, and the run from Schwass was fantastic, and the subsequent kick just as good. Warning signs for the Saints, Beaver.
11 goals to 5 since quarter time, Finey. St Kilda held a comfortable 4-goal lead at the first break. As you can see, we're only 12 to 13 minutes into the third term, so more than enough time for St Kilda to fight back, but they are looking down the barrel here. 2.5 kicks down, a 15-point ball game. Back underway as Winmar jumps on his North Melbourne opponent in Schwash, who's been a prime mover, the youngster for the Kangaroos this afternoon. And they're enjoying a 15-point buffer. Ball punched out wide. Cunningham leading in the race for the footy. And happy to see it over the boundary line. He had Jack Love right on his hammer. A couple of tough hombres there. A boundary throw in neutral territory. Paul Harding, he's been pretty dominant. That's got to be a free kick to Harding. Will they pay the advantage? They should. Brett Bowie scoots. Oh, umpire. Oh, he's played it the other way. Whoa. David Howlett, what on earth was that for?
Oh, wow. Well, that's why he's known as David Howler. Lived up to his nickname. The ball goes deep into the forward line. This time, great play by Frawley, out positioning Martin. A handball to Ingleton. He gets the ball further afield. It's a race of the ball, 2 racehorses, and Nathan Burke streams away from Dwyer. Great play by Berkey. Kicks it further afield. Corcamilis kicked one for the Saints a few minutes ago. Can he make it 2 in a row? He can't. Across the face of goal and through for a behind. 2 speedsters on the wing there, and Nathan Burke showed Dwyer, who's one of the quickest players in the league, a clean pair of heels. Hepburn puts the ball back in for North Melbourne, and we've got a heck of a game on our hands at the moment. Nicky Winmar dispossessed, knocked further afield by Chandler. Arsieri back to Chandler, or was it Larkin? Larkin kicks the ball to centre wing. It's wide, too wide, and Jeff Cunningham will take the subsequent free kick.
So Joffa Cunningham, potentially his last season, the veteran, well over 200 games, to centre half forward, no mark taken. Bryce at the back, good agility from the big fella. Kicks it down the centre corridor. Big punch away there by Rice. The Saints not really clean at the moment. Harding tries to extract it, goes to ground, paddled it to Cunningham. Lovely handball to Elphingston, wearing those bike pants under the shorts to protect his dodgy groins. Oh, picked up by Mick Dwyer. Runs away from Arsieri. Driving ball towards full forward. And that is a gutsy mark taken by Chandler, who then feels the full force of 105 kilos of Stuart Lowe.
Chandler swings the ball out to Arsieri, who's had a heck of a game. Tracking back for St Kilda would have been Kane Taylor, and the ball knocked out of bounds. And the overworked boundary umpire gets another opportunity. So, Kane Taylor on for the Saints in the second half. Just forward of centre wing for the Saints. Knocked back by Stuart Lowe to his opposite number. The ruckman, Donald McDonald, did the roving work. Kicks the ball to Cracker, who's been quiet. Well, I thought he was harassed by Rice fairly, but the umpire says no. Cracker, normally good by foot. Kicks the ball, splays it out to German, who's been everywhere. The ball stacks on the mill. The umpire says, well, what does he say? He calls a ball up just as Ingleton emerges from the pack. Umpire Cameron puts it down 45 metres out from North Melbourne's goal, kicking to the south end of the ground. Bryce, a good tap, right in the path to McCarthy. Knocks it on to Buckley. How's this kick by Buckley? Across the face of goal, Ben Buckley puts it through for a point. And I tell you what, St Kilda fans would be holding their breath, because we're already at a 15-point margin and wouldn't want to blow out any further, given that St Kilda will be coming to the southern end of the ground in the last quarter. The ground not favoured by the breeze.
Yeah, they are just hanging on at the moment, the home side finding. Danny Frawley going to go long and strong, straight down the centre. Winmar sets himself. No mark taken. Harding's played a big game today. Can't win this contest. And Ben Buckley there to square the said contest. And umpire Peter Cameron will bounce it on the paint of 50. 15-point lead to the Kangas. 13-7 to 11-4. Harding with yet another tap out. St Kilda emerge with it through the dangerous Winmar, who drives it towards centre half forward. Lowe! Stuart Lowe takes a wonderful grab directly in front, well within range. You can see where the 50-metre arc is. Man on the mark stands at about 38. And Stuart Lowe for a badly needed goal for St Kilda. 15 points the deficit before the low kick. Drop punt on its way. Coming back in but didn't quite make the distance. And eventually Allison steps over for a rush behind. 14-point ball game. 11-5 71 St Kilda. 13-7 85 North Melbourne on the Snowdelly scoreboard.
The Spar kicks it in. Hepburn goes straight down the centre of Moorabbin. Good play there. Chandler at the drop of the ball. He's had a fair afternoon. Was that a bit of holding there against German? Umpire says play on, but he's able to get the ball to Jose Romero, who's copped high by Nicky Winmar, and Romero to take the subsequent free kick just forward to centre. Romero puts his boot into the ball, kicks it deep into the North Melbourne forward line. At the drop of the ball there would have been a couple of North Melbourne players. David Grant in particular for St Kilda. McMartin was there, McCarthy was there, umpire was there. Umpire wants the ball, Cameron to bounce it 25 metres out. St Kilda need to defend this. They can't afford another goal at this stage of the game. Harding, close to best on ground, wins another tap out. This time gets the ball to Dean Rice, Nathan Burke, who storms out of defence. Direct route one football looking for Stuart Lowe. At the drop of the ball, Kane Taylor picked it up beautifully, gets it to Rod Owen, quick snap at goal, misses everything, out of bounds on the full. Hepburn to take the free kick right next to the behind post at the South Road end of the ground.
As you can see right in front of the big North Melbourne cheer squad, who'll be delighted with this turn of events since quarter time. Now he's going to have to take his kick again. Umpire Howlett wants Mark Hepburn to kick over the mark. It's been the big move. He's been moved on to Tony Lockett, who kicked 6 first half goals. So the Roos with that 14-point buffer. Long ball to centre wing. Bowie reads the crumb best. Handball just misses Russo. Kane Taylor's done a couple of nice things since he's come on. I think that was Buckley who scrambled a kick back towards centre wing. Low goes to ground. Jack Love, the look away handball to Schwash, who's causing all sorts of problems for the St Kilda midfield and defence. Handball's back inboard. There's German there. Did he gain possession? As Stewie Lowe hails a cab. Umpire says no prior opportunity. Dean Rice all tangled up in that as well. About 60 out from the North Melbourne goal.
St Kilda defending desperately. North Melbourne have arrested control of this game, lead by 14 points. Knocked further afield by Ben Buckley. Jumping on top of the ball was Nathan Burke and gets it out to Bowie. And Bowie finds his man Elphinstone. Surely that's a free kick. Coming back against him was the North Melbourne defender. And a free kick umpire. Did he call play on? He did call play on. If you don't mind, umpire. Kicked out wide. Close to the outer boundary. Picked up by Romero. Tracked by Nathan Burke. David Grant does well to keep the ball in. This time kicks it to dead centre wing. In the van there would have been Chandler. Diving on top of him, Rod Owen. Corcamilas. Finally the full ball finds its way out to Winmar. Quiet in the first half, starting to have a bit of a say in the second half. And a free kick. Bronx tears from the Saints fans. They feel they've been hard done by this half. Larkin is the player who was free kicked on that occasion.
Winmar kicks in towards the forward pocket. McDonald at the back. Left foot kick. It'll go to a contest. In fact, no, North have the numbers. Chandler receives the handball. He kicks under pressure towards centre wing. Going to ground was Romero, but still fed out the handball to German, who's done all sorts of damage to the Saints. Left foot kick towards the hot spot. McCarthy, big fly. No mark taken. Jack Love steps around one. This will really hurt the Saints. Flying shot at goal. He's nailed it. He has nailed it, and North Melbourne have sprung out to a 20-point lead. Kicking into the breeze in this third term, and St Kilda now are in a world of trouble. 14-7 91 North, 11-5 71 St Kilda, and that is on the Jefferson Ford scoreboard. And North Melbourne this quarter final have kicked 5-3 to 1-2. After trailing by 24 points at quarter time, they've now kicked 12 goals to 5 since the first change. The Saints in big trouble.
Situation critical for St Kilda, and what we saw in the first half, it's gone against the pattern of play, and St Kilda are facing a 20-point deficit. McDonald, full of confidence, North Melbourne, bursts through the centre of the ground. His kick's a bit skewy, an opportunity for Dean Rice. Goes one way, then the other. Tracks back onto his right boot, smothered by Love. Backing up for St Kilda there would have been Ingleton, but North Melbourne have got players everywhere. McCarthy snaps, around his corner, but only as far as Rice. Rice able to clear for St Kilda. A big handball to Rod Owen. Now, what can St Kilda make of this? One bounce, two bounces by Owen. Owen puts his boot into the ball, deep into the forward line. Lowy's there at the fall of the ball. Taylor, he dodges past one player, snaps it over the shoulder, and Zoe's done it. Important goal for St Kilda. Kane Taylor's come on. He's had a bit of an effect, and that goal pulls St Kilda back to within 14 points.
Badly needed goal, one of Dingley's finest. Kane Taylor against the run of play, it must be said, Finey. 12-5 to 14-7, and there's still enough time in this third term for the Saints to pull a few more back. Who knows? They could even find themselves back in front if they can surge home in this last segment of the third quarter. It must have been a fascinating clash here at Moorabbin today.
Well, they went direct through the centre of the ground, and that might hold the key to getting back into this game. Big bounce in the centre of the ground by Howlett, knocked down this time by McDonald, taken by Rod Owen, who's been thrown onto the ball. Rod Owen's kick goes out to centre wing, tracked by Bowie. It might be Russo, actually, and Russo finds his way over the boundary line, closely in attendance, Chandler. Jeff Chandler's had a good game off the half-back flank for North Melbourne.
So North by 14 points. Lowe goes uncontested in the ruck, swipes it forward from the left mid, about 30 metres, almost as good as a kick. There'll be another boundary throw in as Ross Smith ushers it over the boundary line at left half forward for St Kilda. The Saints next week at home again against the West Coast Eagles. They're undefeated here at Moorabbin this year. Low down to Corcamilis. Was he caught high? Dropping the ball! Well, we're trying to stay objective here in the commentary box. North Melbourne free kick. They seem to have got the better end of the deal today. The kick towards centre wing. Cunningham, did he trip up Buckley? Umpire said no. Love's got it. Handballs to Buckley. Now, or is it coming back? They're not allowed to take the advantage. So Ben Buckley with a free kick on true centre wing position.
North Melbourne lead by 14 points. We've gone further than halfway through the third quarter. Bryce, his handball is well smothered there by Bowie. Back on top of the ball, good play. Bowie gets it out. Gotch, Bowie, St Kilda's two small men fight, and they fight the good battle, and well played, little fellas. Brett Bowie swings around onto his right boot and looks further afield and finds his man in Corcamilis, who started to lift. Corcamilis on the left, dobs it straight down the throat of Tony Lockett. That's direct football, and St Kilda have got a chance to pull within 8 points.
Well, the big fella hasn't seen it in the third quarter. Supply's dried up, and when it has come into forward 50, Finey, it's mainly been under pressure. Finally gets his first look for the third term.
6 goals straight. Expecting to put this one through. He's such a wonderful kick and goal. Tony Lockett at the South Road end, right through the high diddle, straight over the umpire's hat. Good to see they wear hats in 89.
Yes, indeed. Sun smart.
And St Kilda back within 8 points. I'll tell you what, their goal kicking has kept them in the game. Accuracy, you can't beat it. 13-5-83. Well, I'm not saying kept them in the game, but both teams have kicked well a goal. 14-7-91 North Melbourne. St Kilda 13-5-83. We're back to an 8-point ball game.
Yeah, it's back to being manageable. North had got ahead by as much as 20 points earlier in this quarter. St Kilda with the last 2 goals. Owen has made a difference since he's gone onto the ball. Rocket smashes it forward to centre half forward. Larkin's got it. He emerges from the heavy traffic. Has time even to take a bounce. And kicks out towards right half forward. Elphingston. Terrific grab from the classy halfback. Back inboard to Corcamilis. Handballs to Owen. Another disposal since he's been moved on the ball. Stewart low. He's taken the mark. Or is he? Well, the pictures tell the story in terms of the reaction from the St Kilda fans. As umpire Peter Cameron, not sure whether he'll be going to the social club for a drink tonight. The kick out wide. Elphingston almost took another mark. Dwyer, can he control it? He can't. Over the boundary line, and listen to this.
Well, it's right in front of the animal enclosure, and they will let themselves be heard by the umpires. None too happy. That mark paid against Stuart Lowe to the front man, McDonald. Stuart Lowe back in the ruck. Dwyer. Anschloss, and the umpire's going to call for a ball up. Have a listen to the St Kilda crowd. Most displeased. Harding, as he's done most of the afternoon. That should be holding the ball against Romero if you're consistent umpire, but they're not. Handball by Harding. Winmar knocks it further afield. The boundary umpire called into play again. Well, when you consider the free kick played against Cookamilis a few minutes earlier, you would have thought that one would have gone the way of St Kilda, but that hasn't been the pattern this afternoon. Stuart Lowe thumps the ball forward. Bowie dives on top of it, and finally St Kilda get a free. Bowie bounces to his feet. He kicks it further afield, and Tony Lockett on the lead. All of a sudden, St Kilda are playing the sort of football that had them in front during the first half, and the leading Lockett. Beautiful pass by Brett Bowie, honoured by the lead, and Tony Lockett will go back for goal number 8. Please.
Goal number 8 has yet to miss. Finally, 7 straight so far from the superstar spearhead.
So here's a chance to put through 8 straight. Tony Lockett to pull St Kilda back within 2 points. Never in doubt. Right through the middle. St Kilda draw within 2 points. It's 14-5-89. Trailing North Melbourne 14-7-91.
Oh, they're made of sterner stuff this year, St Kilda. 20 points in arrears 5 or 6 minutes ago. They've kicked 3 on the bounce. And as you can hear, the St Kilda chant starts to ring around the enormous members stand here at Linton Street. We're up to the 28-minute mark. But again, it has been a high-scoring quarter, so there might be still a couple of minutes of play remaining until the three-quarter time siren. Harding with the big run-in. Smashes it forward. They're just forcing it forward, a la Hawthorn-like. Winmar on hands and knees. Handballs further afield. Dwyer to put St Kilda in front. Yes! Saints fans delirious. They've reeled off 4 goals in about 6.5 minutes. And after looking down and out, they now reclaim the lead. 15-5-95 to North Melbourne. 14-7-91. Spine-tingling passenger play from the young Saints.
So there's nothing like watching football at Moorabbin when the crowd gets behind the club, and why would you ever play a game anywhere else, or at least a home game?
It's got me beat.
The ball knocked down by McDonald, picked up off the half-back flank by Jeff Cunningham. He kicks it wide onto the centre wing, and right dead set centre wing in front of their adoring supporters. The Saints have rallied to lead by 4 points. Was that a free kick to Harding? Umpire says yes, and all of a sudden the momentum is all with St Kilda. Paul Harding has had a fantastic afternoon, kicks it to centre half forward. This time Stuart Lowe's out of position. Donald McDonald did well, and he's going to repel. So deep into this third quarter as we tick into the 30-minute mark. The ball's on centre wing, diving on top of it there would have been Matthew Larkin. Paul Harding, he's done an absolute mountain of work, whether it's rucking on the ball.
I think that was the siren?
Yep.
Crowd at fever pitch here, giving the rounds of the kitchen to the umpires. And as you can see, St Kilda's come back from 20 points down. About to get underway for the final term, north to the scoring end. But the Saints, with this big passionate crowd, trying to roar them home. They're only 4 points to the good. We're underway with a good opening bounce. North Melbourne, I think it was through German, kicks in the McCarthy direction. Bit of a pile on. Ball squirts out the front. Dwyer couldn't go with it. Martin looking for his third goal. Wobbles a kick in towards the forward pocket. Grabbed there by Romero. Left foot snap. And it's punched through by Frawley for a rush behind. 3-point ball game. 15-5 to 14-8.
Huge game here for St Kilda. They haven't played finals football for now 16 seasons. And a win here would put them in touching distance of the top 5. Beautiful mark by Nicky Winmar from the kick-in. Under extreme pressure from Ben Buckley, but Nicky Winmar, who's lifted in the second half, and the champ will need to be on his medal if St Kilda are to get over the line here this afternoon. Big kick, and Stuart Lowe, the buckets of Stuart Lowe on centre wing. The crowd love it. Stuart Lowe to put St Kilda deep into attack, or at least up to the 50-metre mark. The ball holds up a bit into that breeze, so there's still a lot of work to be done. And Freddie Allison marks well for North Melbourne.
And Allison, he was going to zig and zag inboard, eventually down the line. Winmar with the crumb. It's almost kick to kick at the moment. Now, who's going to be paid this?
You'd have to pay that to the man
in front in Chandler. It's been a fascinating duel between Chandler and Owen this afternoon. They've both had their moments.
Similar body types. Perfect measure.
Indeed. Chip pass out to Hepburn. Handball, I think it was to Larkin. Awkward kick. Martin with the big bump on Dwyer. Cleared a path for Swash. Look at the speeds to go. Cunningham goes stride for stride with him. He kicks it in the direction of McCarthy and Frawley. Frawley with a little swipe, the backhander. Dwyer's got it. What a great tackle. Has to be rewarded.
What?
That is incredible.
That is unbelievable. Whoa. Dean Rice had him cold. Peter Russo to centre wing. Mick Martin tracks back. He's able to get the handball only as far as Stuart Lowe. Wow, look at them going. Stuart Lowe knocks the ball forward. Meterage important. Finally knocked back out of bounds by North Melbourne. Every metre counts. Every decision counts. And that one that you saw a couple of moments earlier was an absolute howler.
Well, umpires Cameron and Howlett, they'll be looking for the police horse at the final siren tonight. They wouldn't be hoping the Saints win. We're hoping the Saints win, but there's been some interesting interpretations. North Melbourne burst clear again. Allison gets on the end of a handball. McCarthy and Frawley, they both fly. Russo front and centre with the crumb. Left foot kick back into midfield. Almost lands in the centre circle. Corcamilis wheels through traffic. Handball to Harding did him no favours. Russo goes again. Almost a horse collar tackle by German. The quick kick forward. Gotch has taken the mark at about 48. I don't think the little fellow has got it in him. He's a beautiful kick, but not necessarily a super long kick. So Brad Gotch, body language suggests he thinks he's a chance. This would take a mighty effort into the breeze from 49 metres. Driving left foot drop punt. Didn't quite get the distance. Lockett in the pocket. Can he get out for handball? He can. Owen, snap. Owen, goal! Into the breeze. The Saints out to a 9-point lead. And Rocket Owen with a beautiful left foot snap. The goal assist to Tony Lockett. St Kilda 16-5, 101. North Melbourne 14-8, 92 and a thriller.
Wow. And was it back in 1984 or 85? Or 83 even? That Rod Owen made his debut against North Melbourne.
At Arden Street, round 1, 1983, as a 16-year-old and kicked 3 goals.
Yep, and Tony Lockett made his debut in the reserves that day.
Yep, and then made his debut the Morwood Fashini Day against Geelong out at Waverley 3 weeks later.
There you go. Back in the centre of the ground. Wow, everything to play for. The Saints by 9 points. Harding, who's been in everything, gets the handball to Bowie, who's quickly tackled. Bryce brought to his knees by Nathan Burke. Umpire says holding the man. So, Paul Bryce just back of centre, putting North Melbourne back into attack. This game's right up for grabs. Dwyer's able to knock the ball clear of Schloss. Dean Rice tracks it on the centre wing. Great play by Rice. Kicks the ball further afield. Lowy's in the van and he marks. Oh, that must be a 50-metre penalty. What's going on here, umpire? Bring him back! Umpire says all's fair in love and war. Wow, Mick Martin poleaxed Stuart Lowe. The kick is deep into the forward line, but 2 against 1, and even Tony Lockett couldn't beat those odds. Paul Bryce takes the defensive mark.
Bryce straight down the middle. Oh, Grant, wonderful grab, soaring high to take a fine overhead mark. Oh, the kick was smothered though. I reckon kicker was over the mark. Umpire must have called play on. Grant recovered best. Little handball to his housemate and Kane Taylor. Taylor picks up the football and wobbles a kick to centre half forward. Little Bowie's at the front of the pack. Winmar there. Martin now looks like he's been pushed back behind the ball. He kicks it back into midfield. Grant again almost took the mark. Taylor hails a cab. Umpire Cameron on the scene immediately. And he will bounce it midfield with St Kilda clinging to a 9-point lead.
St Kilda lead by 9 points here. We're into the last quarter of this key game at Moorabbin between the 10th place Saints and the 5th place Roos. The knock down to Bowie, kicks the ball further afield, but a sprawling mark, a defensive mark is taken by Bryce, who's been pretty good in the second half. Paul Bryce alternating between the ruck and centre half back. Sticks a high boot in the ball back to the centre of the ground. Harding competes with Jeff Cunningham. At the drop of the ball was Romero and Nathan Burke, and then stacks on the mill. Umpire Cameron waddles in and another bounce.
This is Been a really exciting, high-scoring game of footy. VFL football at its best. Harding and McDonald. McDonald wins a rare tap against Paul Harding. Winmar Sharks it, kicks it around the corner, playing in front Schwash. He's been a mighty contributor to the Blue and Whites today. Handballs to the running Bryce, who kicks it towards the forward pocket. Taylor with the important spoil at the full. Ingleton try to give it back to Taylor. Clarkson in there. Taylor got an important hand in. North Melbourne won't be denied. Siri under pressure from Ingleton scrambles the kick forward through for a minor score. 8-point ball game. North 14-9. St Kilda 16-5 as Danny Frawley brings it back into play.
Spud kicks the ball towards the members' wing, knocked further afield and finally out of bounds. Desperate stuff here at Moorabbin. 8 points separate these two teams. We're about 70 metres around from the North Melbourne goal. Members' wing. Knocked down by McDonald. Winmar's able to track the ball forward only as far as Schloss. Again, Stacks on the mill. Romero's in there. Winmar's in there. German's in there. And finally the umpire will have to be in there with a bounce.
So it'll be Harding and McDonald. Umpire Cameron. It's a good bounce as well. Let's hope it never leaves the game. So Romero under pressure from Dwyer. Kick went straight to Harding. Feeds a handball to Winmar. Feeds a handball to Dwyer. He's got clear turf ahead of him. Takes a bounce. Centering ball. Here comes Lockett. No mark. At the back, Chandler. He's read the crumbs in defence pretty well all day. Out into open spaces. Foot race on between Russo and Dwyer. Dwyer gets there first. Rice pickpockets him. Another North Melbourne free kick.
Why not?
Why not indeed?
Why not? Why not? They've got everything else. Dwyer kicks the ball deep into the North Melbourne forward line at the back of the pack. Cunningham forces a tackle to a fellow veteran in Elphinston. Elphinston, a big, wide, sweeping handball, misses the mark. Bowie overruns it. Here's an opportunity for Smith and Winmar and Bowie and the umpire and a bounce. I tell you what, we did have historic moment there. I think we had the first snippet of female commentary in the history of football.
Yes, I think we did. Not sure, some gremlins in the commentary box as Bowie loops a lovely handball to Mick Dwyer, and Dwyer gathers and lowers the eyes and honours the lead of Lockett, who marks overhead. 40 to 45 out, slightly better than a 45-degree angle, and this will take the great man's absolute best. Is he shooting for number 9, Finey?
He is.
We'll just check the footy record. Is he going to go the torp into the breeze? He is. He gets onto it. It spirals. It goes. It floats. It is through. What a magnificent goal from the superstar that is Tony Lockett. 9 goals straight from the champion spearhead. And he pushes St Kilda out to a 14-point lead. St Kilda 17-5, 107. North Melbourne 14-9, 93. A masterclass from Tony Lockett with 9 straight. He's kicked more than half of the Saints majors.
Only a champion could have forced that ball through from how far he was out given the state of the wind here today. That torpedo is a mark of an absolute champion. St Kilda extend the lead to 14 points. Back in the centre of the ground. Harding, who's been immense, gets it to Grant, who's suddenly playing in the centre of the ground. David Grant follows up his good work with a handball. A little bit too hot for Kulkamilis. Back to Russo. St Kilda's recruits coming to the fore, but cleared away there by North Melbourne defender Smith, looking for Dwyer. And North Melbourne, they need to show some urgency now. Back to Smith. North Melbourne. Can they clear Cunningham? They do. At the fall of the ball is Clarkson. Haven't called his name for a while. Buckley. Handballs to Arsiri. Chance for number 4 for the little man. And Arsiri keeps the Roos in the game. Whoa. Mark Arsiri. 4 goals.
Well, as our great mate Tony Leonard of Could Have Been Champions fame likes to say, first to 100 usually wins, but that mightn't be the case today, Finey. 17-5 to 15-9, 8-point ball game, and as you can see, still plenty of time to go on the Peter Jackson clock. 11 minutes into the final term.
Wow, St Kilda just weren't able to hold them up there out on the outer wing. Harding again wins the ball down, this time Larkin Sharks. North Melbourne hurry the ball forward. Cracker, who's been quiet at the front of the pack. Kickett also been quiet in the second half. Cunningham dives on the ball. Desperation stakes. Gets it out. St Kilda clear. Dwyer on centre wing. Being tracked by Schwass. And the ball close to the boundary line. Well played by Dwyer. Well played by Schwass. Umpire calls for a ball up. Wow, look at that beautiful header here there for Wayne Schwass. Enjoy it, mate. It ain't going to last.
So the bounce close to the boundary line. Ruck work done by Harding against Bryce. Is there a late whistle here? Held without the football, I think, was Brett Bowie. And the diminutive Saint is going to kick long from centre wing. 45 to 50 metre drop punch. Stuart Lowe has to beat two Kangaroos. At the full, Larkin and Burke go in there. That's Nathan Burke. What he does best, just into his third season, the young man. And such a tough, gritty competitor. Forces a stoppage. So St Kilda clinging to an 8-point lead. Umpire David Howlett didn't like that bit of chat there from Ross Smith. As Lowe comes from the side, he wins the tap, he follows up. Dwyer bursts through, he'll kick on his non-preferred left. It won't quite reach Tony Lockett. Punched away by Hepburn. Straight down the centre corridor. Elphingston, what's he doing up forward? Can't go with the footy. Kickett grabs it. North on the burst.
Handball. Romero through the centre of Moorabbin. Finds the running German, who's been a menace all afternoon. A long kick by German. It's offline. In fact, it's well offline, out of bounds on the full. But just to give you an idea of which way the wind's going, he was able to carry that ball 60 metres. So St Kilda, 8 points to the good, but plenty of work to do to bag these 4 points. Dean Rice takes the ball from back pocket, clears the 50 metre line. Harding was the target. Larkin the interceptor. Gets the ball. A free kick finally to St Kilda. Nathan Burke emerges with the free kick. And 50 metres. Well, I've got to be honest, I don't know what the free was for, and I don't know what the 50 was for. Maybe, well, I guess the umpire felt bad and only paid 30 of it. Nathan Burke to put St Kilda deep into attack. Haltering run up. Checks himself and finally kicks the ball centre. Sends the ball to Paul Harding, who's been immense this afternoon. Harding, number one ruckman on the ground, kicks it to centre half forward. It's all North Melbourne, but clears the pack. Tony Lockett at the fall of the ball. He's brought to ground by Hepburn. North Melbourne clear onto centre wing. Dean Rice intercepts for the Saints.
And Rice steps around one roo and then kicks it in the direction of full forward, but it holds up in the breeze, and this wind might be stiffening a bit again here at Moorabbin. Can North take advantage? Clarkson a well-judged mark. Handballs to Kickett. Kicks under pressure. It'll wobble its way through centre half forward. Frawley storms out. Didn't control on the first occasion. Ball trapped underneath him. Umpire Cameron's seen enough. He says, I will bounce it, and Spud Frawley looks like he's copped a bit of a head knock there. Gets up holding his left ear. The brave St Kilda captain. As the shadows lengthen here at Linton Street, St Kilda lead by 8 points. Harding takes it straight out of the ruck. Heads towards the boundary line. The cult hero, Joffa Cunningham, tries to control it. Won't let Larkin near the footy. Bowie there to lend a hand. Joffa gets, brilliant by Cunningham. Handballs to Harding. Handballs to Burke. The Saints out of trouble again. Low scything ball down the wing. Honours the leader, Corcomelis, who marks on his chest.
Corcomelis swings onto the left boot. It's not a lot of depth in the kick. In fact, well short. Bryce intercepts. Wayne Schwass. North Melbourne need to get on their bikes, and they are doing so accordingly. Big leap at the back of the pack by McCarthy. Unable to bring it down. What does the umpire say? Gee, the crowd remonstrating with the umpire, feeling that was the McCarthy had infringed, and the umpire agrees, and Paul Harding to take another kick for the Saints. Kicks it to centre wing, and Paul, you're going to have to follow up your work because it's out of bounds, so you kick it, and you're going to have to go up for the ruck contest. Dead, set, centre wing. Here at Moorabbin, 8 points the difference. It's Harding versus Bryce. The ball to the front of the pack. Stacks on the mill. Rice is there for the Saints, and he brings it to a dead halt with Wayne Schwass, and we're going to have another ball up here on centre wing.
Looks like Robert Elphingston's been moved forward for St Kilda. 17-5 to 15-9. Next goal all important. Nathan Burke, ball to boot very quickly. Low playing in front. He's got to be up into double figures for marks taken. Swivels, kicks long in the Lockett direction, won't reach the superstar, but he grabs it on the bounce, snaps around the body. This would be a miraculous goal. And in fact, it sails out of bounds on the full court, on the breeze. And Peter German to take the resultant free kick in the left back pocket. Thrown back from the St Kilda cheer squad, so you better check that there's no foreign substances have been added to the ball before he kicks it. It's a long ball, low, doesn't quite bring it down, tries to lay a tackle. St Kilda still applying immense pressure. Schwash again through traffic. What a young player he is. Burke in the way though. Harding, surely that's a push in the back from Buckley. And the umpire finally agrees. And some ironical cheers along this members' wing.
Paul Harding puts St Kilda about 40 metres out from goal. Tony Lockett outnumbered at the full of the ball. Gotch, here's an opportunity for the Saints. And Gotch, perfect piece of roving. 14 points up. What an important goal. A real opportunist goal. The St Kilda forwards gather around Bradley Gotch and quite rightly are wrapped in the little man's performance there. Outnumbered Tony Lockett, but that's what happens when you go 3-4 up against one man and Tony Lockett draws a crowd. There's always going to be an opportunity at the fall of the ball, and Brad Gotch swooped.
Well picked up, Finey. Brilliantly explained, triple teaming the great man Tony Lockett, and Brad Gotch kicks his second. And the Saints with a bit of breathing space. 14 points up, but there's still plenty of time to go. McCarthy dispossessed. Frawley smashes it forward into the path of Dwyer. Dwyer kicks towards right half forward. Chandler, close to the boundary line, runs out of real estate, and Rod Owen, who's a man not to be messed with, just gives him a helping hand over the fence, which Peter Cameron didn't like. So Chandler will take the free kick at left half back. It's a high drop punt to centre wing. Low elects to spoil as opposed to going for the mark. Cracker tried to go off the ground. Winmar beat him pointless and then kicks a low ball. It's marked by Corgamillis. The former Blue was marked at 40 directly in front. And this would take his best effort into the breeze. But a long straight kick here and that would almost slam the door on the visitors. Corgamillis, he's going the torpedo. He gets onto it. Out to the left though, and again Lockett being triple teamed, and Bryce takes the intercept mark.
North Melbourne have to get their skates on, and Bryce does just that. He looks for Clarkson. Ingleton makes a good contest. At the drop of the ball is Dwyer. Knocked further afield by Larkin, and wow, what hasn't Harding done? This time Roves kicks the ball deep into the forward line at the back of the pack. Stuart Lowe, was he caught high? Umpire. Wow. Looked like he was caught high. The umpires come in here and paid the free kick to North Melbourne for holding the ball. Well, I have seen it all, Beaver. Sorry, I'm speechless. You're going to have to take over.
Yeah, I'm the same, Finey. Just shaking my head in disbelief. Hepburn with a long kick to centre wing. Ramiro gets it to kick it. He's been quieter in the second half. Screws it round the corner. Well controlled there. I think that was by Benny Ingleton. Kicks it to a contest. Kick it went one-handed, probably because his other arm was being held. Bowie, lovely pass. And Owen with a high chest mark in front of Chandler. What a duel that's been. He kicks in the Lockett direction. Again, North getting numbers back. Bryce at the back missed his hand. He's got enough time to recover though. Wobbles a kick back to centre wing, and David Grant is in the way and takes the mark in the centre square.
Trademark David Grant. Wall of defence. Kick not great. Larkin picks it off. Handballs wide to Ross Smith. North Melbourne out on the outer wing. Rice flies early. Arceri at the drop of the ball. It's Rice and Dwyer. Who can hold their feet? Who can pick up this all-important ball? Arceri tracks back. Rice is over the top of the ball. North Melbourne have the numbers. Arceri gets a handball away. Only as far as Elphinston. St Kilda holding up. Elphinston looking for the safety of the boundary. Is he? He won't find it. Winmar. Great work by Nicky Winmar. Desperate stuff. Oh no. Winmar sure that he'd won the free kick there, and he has. Nicky Winmar. Can he settle things down a little bit? No, the ball's going to come back. Centre wing, Neil Elvis Winmar to take the ball out of side. St Kilda lead by 14 points. Vital game here at Moorabbin, Beaver.
Yeah, it sure is, Finey. And the Saints just need to be composed in these final minutes. North still with the aid of a reasonably strong breeze. Nicky Winmar in his third season in the VFL after coming over from South Fremantle as a 21-year-old. The long kick in the Lockett direction who rose high. Got a small piece of it, couldn't complete the mark. German has the football trapped underneath him. Stacks on the mill. Umpire lets it go. And we will have a bounce. A step outside the St Kilda 50-metre arc.
Yeah, the Saints players have to lift their eyes going forward because they're kicking it to Lockett every time. He's got 3 opponents, so surely there are loose men in the forward line that they're not picking up. Anyhow, the ball knocked forward for North Melbourne, tracked back by Nathan Burke, gets it to that man Harding, who's had such a wonderful afternoon. Kicks it long, deep to guess who? Tony Lockett. No good though. Tony Lockett on your hands and knees, does brilliantly. Handballs out to Bowie. This could just about seal the game. Bowie snaps. Hits the post. Bowser. Great work by Tony Lockett getting the ball to Brett Bowie. It wasn't a bad shot on goal, but took the woodwork and St Kilda 15 points. Not quite safe yet, Beaver.
No, that would have been the seal of Finey. Bryce to the outer side into the sunshine. Stewie low like a colossus. Rises high to take the mark. He's 12th of the day. Chip pass. And Elphingston. Strong hands in front of Chandler. And Robbie Elphingston, who doesn't venture forward all that often, has taken the mark directly in front. 45 out. The Eel. Such a popular teammate and member of the St Kilda Footy Club. His long kick is out to the right. Lockett's marked it, but it was over the line. We're not going to go to the video because there isn't one. And it will be a minor score. 18-7, 115 St Kilda. 15-9, 99 North Melbourne. The Roos need 3 goals from here to pluck victory from the jaws of defeat.
Get on your bike. Hepburn kicks it in front of the Snow Deli sign. Back into play. There's no deli like Snow Deli. Well, there is. It's Lenny's Deli. The ball on the outer wing. Picked up by Kickett. Kickett launches forward. He's been fairly quiet in this second half, and a beautiful mark by Dean Rice, who's absolutely blanketed, smothered, defeated and owned Jimmy Cracker this afternoon. Dean Rice kicks the ball to centre wing, looking for Stuart Lowe. Hepburn in front. Kick it. One hand pick up was good, but he dropped it just as quickly as he got it. German, who's been fantastic all afternoon, gets it to Larkin. Larkin kicks it further forward, and that man again, Dean Rice, has been great in this last quarter. Kick smothered though, that wasn't so good. Donald McDonald picks up the resultant ball, gets it to you-know-who, Mark Arceri, and finally the little man misses. I'll tell you what, he's all right, Arceri. Wouldn't mind seeing him in a St Kilda jumper.
Yeah.
Or would I?
Who knows? He might end up at Moorabbin one day, maybe via Carlton. We're just crystal balling as Danny Frawley heads to the outer side into the last remnants of sunshine here at Moorabbin. It's been a beautiful day and it's been a good game of footy to watch. Harding takes the mark, kicks on his non-preferred left. On the bounce to Burke. Finally controls it, gets around his opposite 29 there in German. Handball to Corcamilis, who fumbled. It leaves or lets North Melbourne in. McCarthy, long sweeping kick to the hot spot. Mark almost taken there by McDonald. Oh no, he's paid a push.
Oh, you're kidding.
He's paid a push. And Donald McDonald,
oh boy,
will go back and line up with the breeze at his back. He's outside 50, but the kick only needs to travel 40 to 45 metres.
We can't waste any time because time is the enemy of North Melbourne.
And he has kicked the goal. Donald McDonald keeps the Roos alive. He has kicked the goal. North Melbourne 16-10, 106. St Kilda 18-7, 115. 9-point ball game. As you can see, local time, it's 28 minutes to 5. That's the clock that counts, though. We have just ticked into time on of the final quarter. Can the Saints hang on?
Well, they say charity begins at home, but I've got a feeling this afternoon it begins in the North Melbourne forward line. Back in the centre of the ground. St Kilda by 9 points. A big punch, this time cleared by McDonald. Good play by North Melbourne. They're able to clear the centre square. Rice over the back of Cracker gets it clear. Well played, Russo. Was he infringed upon? Umpire says no. Ball up 40 metres out. North Melbourne are coming here, Beaver.
Yeah, they sure are, Finey. St Kilda are going to need to defend grimly in these last few minutes. There's certainly enough time left if the Roos are good enough. It's been a thriller here at Lynn Street. Harding wins the tap down, but it doesn't clear the area as yet.
Bowie, important possession. Gets it to Kane Taylor. He's kicked. Oh, gee, would have liked to have hit the target there, Robert Elphinston, but it trails out of bounds, centre wing. And those fans in the outer shielding their eyes from the sun as it sets here at Moorabbin. Harding over the back of Hepburn. Knocked the way of North Melbourne. Ross Smith takes the resultant kick. Puts it forward. Cracker overruns the ball. Schwass able to trail the ball back. North Melbourne heads a chip kick to Romero. And I tell you what, this game's alive, Beaver. Romero's only 30 metres out, directly in front, or not much of an angle to speak on. If he puts it through, we've got 3 points the difference and a nail-biting finish at Moorabbin.
The youngest player on the ground, just 17 years of age, Finey, shooting for his second goal.
Jose Romero to keep North Melbourne's hopes alive and guarantee that they maintain a spot in the top 5. Close to the man on the mark, but accurate. And we've got a 3-point ball game at Moorabbin, Beaver. Whoa, the fans, the St Kilda fans were planning their night of Transformers. Well, all of that's changed in the last 90 seconds, and we've got a grandstand finish. We've got the close one, Bruce.
Yeah, we sure have, and the Roo few that are here today, small supporter base, as we know, are trying to rally their troops for one last effort to kick one more goal to get their nostrils in front. St Kilda clinging to a 3-point lead, 18-7 to 17-10. Harding down to Elphinston, pickpocketed though, his handball by Buckley to centre forward. What a great mark by Kane Taylor, falling to the turf. Out muscling there, Jose Romero, out wide. Kick it clatters into the back of David Grant, surely a push in the back. And the umpire finally sees sense and finally clears his eyes and pays the Saints a free kick. Grant, long ball down the line, Widmer with an enormous leap. Would have been the mark of the year. Buckley with the crumb though. Kicks it in the direction of Kickett. Frawley with the punch. These are desperate times. Lockett emerges with it. He kicks it inside forward 50. Big contest here. Joffa Cunningham superb with the punch away. Kickett ripped off the kick. It'll drift out into the left forward pocket. Dwyer's got it. Little handball over the top. Ramiro with the little kick round the corner. Cunningham again. And Joffa Cunningham stands tall in the defensive goal square.
Wow, St Kilda under siege. Cunningham marks 5 metres out for his own goals. Defending desperately St Kilda. This ball just about clears 50 metres, but it's coming back. And a mark to Ben Buckley. St Kilda's defence has to be resolute. They need to get numbers back. Buckley centres the ball. McDonald's going to fly. At the back of the pack was Harding. McDonald picks up the crumbs and it's once again Cunningham deep in defence, repelling the Roos.
He kicks out wide. The bounce favours Gotch. He doesn't try to play for a free kick, tried to paddle to Elphinston, who paddled to Corcomelis, socket off the ground. He's trying to beat 3 Kangaroos. Hepburn gathers the loose football, handball over the top. Is that Arsiri again going for goal number 5? He handballed another siren!
The siren! Saints have won!
The Saints have hung on as Mark Arsiri was steaming into an open goal. He elected to handball, the siren went. Saints fans flood the arena, absolutely ecstatic. St Kilda win a classic, 18-7, 115 to North Melbourne, 17-10, 112.
Wow. Well, the Mark Arsiri was moments away from possibly winning the game. He chose to handball instead of kicking. The siren went, and there's Tony Lockett, the Saints hero, barging his way through the adoring fans. 9 goals straight. Whoop. Watch out, son. He's a big boy. I don't think any Saints fans would mind getting trampled by Plugger. It'd be something to tell your grandkids. 9 goals straight. Best of ground once again. Joffa Cunningham, heroic in the dying moments, taking 2 saving marks in the defensive goal square.
Saves the day, the hero. Joffa Cunningham, as he's pointing up to some family and friends in the social club. A grin as wide as Luna Park. And the Saints salute. They stay undefeated at Moorabbin. 4-0 this year at their famous home ground. There's the big Joffa sign. It'll be a hot night in the disco tonight on the second level. of the GG Huggins stand. Final score again, St Kilda 18-7, 115 to North Melbourne 17-10, 112.